welcome to the first official show of the 2019 year. It is the Mike Sasson Show. Welcome everybody here. It's Happy New Year again to everyone who listens to us on the River's Edge at www.riversedgepgh.com. My name is Mike Sasson. Today we legitimately have too much show. It's incredible. We've got like 9 shows smashed into one. It's a great way to start off the brand new year. Again, my name is Mike Sasson. Over there, playing with their headphones, brand new green hair, loving every minute of it, looking like the hottest lumberjack ever to go through the Pacific Northwest. Looking like she should be at a Nirvana concert in 1993. Again, it is Alex Clements. Happy New Year, Alex.
Happy New Year.
Absolutely.
I have to say it the same way every single time.
You can't just be like,
Happy New Year.
You can't just be like, Happy New Year.
No, fuck that.
Okay. Anyway, so on this week's episode, we'll be going over what we did to celebrate the brand new year. And I'm going to get to the bottom of what year it is. Because there's a little bit of controversy in my own mind.
I believe it's the year of the horse.
No, not all that stuff.
I'm kidding.
We'll get what year to it is. Also, we're going to be talking to comedian Krish Mohan. Guy's got an album recording coming up at the Mr. Small's Funhouse. We're going to be talking about that. Me and Krish actually did a podcast recording on his podcast last week, and we talked an hour and a half.
Well,
so this is pretty much just part 2 of that episode. So he's waiting in the green room. So all we're going to do is just start.
I just noticed him there.
I know.
Typically, I always jump whenever people come in because it scares the shit out of me.
Yeah. I don't know if people know
He
this about
just
Krish.
snuck in
I don't know
here.
if you know this about Krish. He's a ninja.
Yeah,
He's
apparently.
Apparently, he can just walk right into a scene you don't even know, and then he takes a fry, and then he walks right away. You don't even know. He's that kind of ninja. You're like, wait, I had 4 fries here. Now there's only 3. Krish was just there.
I feel like I would never notice that. I would never be like, I have 4 fries right now.
See, that's honestly what I believe is a quality thief. You got to steal stuff that no one notices is gone. Like, you got to steal, like, if you go into, like, Jeff Bezos or Bezos's, like, garage who has, like, 900 Porsches, you take one of their Porsches. You don't take a guy who's got only, like, 2 Porsches, because then he's going to show up to his garage and be like, hey, I'm 50% less Porsche than I was at the beginning of the night.
I can see your point.
Yes, so that's what we do there. Also, later on, we're going to have back on the show, because they are regular visitors here, Jason Clark and Aaron Kleiber, the Grown Dad people. They're making an announcement right now. They're part of the family now.
Is this their second or third time on the show?
I know it's Aaron's like third.
I think it's Aaron's third, and then both of theirs second.
Yeah, they're like the Don Rickles and this show. Like Don Rickles was always on the Tonight Show. If I'm Johnny, you're my Ed, and they're my Don Rickles.
I've always wanted to be someone's Ed.
You ever always wanted to be an Ed?
Yeah.
Well, congratulations, you're an Ed.
All my dreams are coming true.
Here's the thing about Ed McMahon, very similar to you. Loved to drink.
Yeah, that sounds right.
Everyone loved him, and gave
right.
away millions of dollars. He was the original Publishers Clearinghouse person. Who doesn't love a guy who just walks around with giant checks giving them to old ladies in Topeka, Kansas?
I do that.
Yeah.
Just no one knows.
I know. You do that. And you're just like, you know what? I do it on the down low.
Yeah.
You're like, here's a check.
I feel bad right now for letting it out, honestly.
Yeah. They're like, this is a check for 35 cents. You're like, yeah, you're welcome. That's Alex.
Yep.
There you go. Again, so thank you, everyone. You might be listening to us on the River's Edge, where you get the best local talk and the best local music at www.riversedgepgh.com. Or you might be watching us live on Facebook Live, which showing, again, the type of commitment I have to this show and to all of you people. I am a huge fan of college football. Right now, we are currently recording during the College Football National Championship.
I mean, it's really never affected our show before.
I know.
And like even real football hasn't affected our show. So.
You don't view college football as real football?
I mean, it's just like not as real, I guess.
I think it's real. It's just you don't feel it's at the level of, let's say, Steelers.
None of it's real to me, to be honest.
None of it's real?
But
is anything real? Are we going to get metaphysical now in 2019?
No, okay. I don't think we're there yet.
Okay.
I don't have the brain power for that right now.
There you go. So, again, thank you us. Or you're listening to us on any of the podcast formats, either Google Play, iTunes, or SoundCloud. As I mentioned before, I got to figure something out.
Okay.
So, one of the first days of 2019, I was telling somebody the date because I had to write like a check or something. And I'm like, it's January 3rd, 2019. And this lady goes, oh, you're old. And I went, what? What are you talking about? He goes, the kids are calling it 2019. And I'm like, so? It's like, well, you said it was 2019. That shows your age.
That's stupid. How old was this person?
Like in their 60s.
Ew.
But like, okay, well, let's figure it out.
What did they say? What did they say? Did they say it like the kids say it?
I think they're trying to prove that they are with it, because their point was, and I thought through this, next year it'll be 2020.
Right.
Will you say 2020 or you say 2020?
I think I would say both. Like, I think it would kind of depend on the situation. Because I'm, like, posting something on Instagram and stuff, and I'm, like, putting the hashtags, like, hashtag 2019. But I feel like if I was saying the date to someone, like, if someone asked me the date, I would say 2019.
Because it's weird, because through most of this century, we've done it 2000. Because, again, it wasn't September 11th, 2001.
Right.
It was September 11th, 2001. That was the bad date. But now, again, when it went into this decade, I guess you could go 2010, 2011, something like that. Because, again, back before then, like, I wasn't born in 1976. I was born in 1976.
Right. Yeah. Oh, my God.
I
think that just hit me.
Yeah.
Now.
How good I look for my age. That's what hit you.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Yes.
Fat don't crack. That's the thing about it. I don't have the wear and tear of normal men my age, because I still have my hair, and any sort of wrinkles, the chubbiness fills in.
Yeah.
That's why, like, skinny guys, if you ever see, like, when they take close-ups of, like, Hollywood stars that are my age, that are real thin, they don't look as good because, A, they spend too much time in the sun, and B, there's no chubbiness to kind of fill in any sort of wrinkles. It's just, that's how it works. Fat don't crack.
I also feel like no one says, like, I don't say the year that much. Like, I don't say it out loud that much, you know? Like, when do you do that except when it's, like, the new year?
Yeah. But, I mean, are you going to say, so let's figure this out. Was I correct in saying it was 2019?
Yeah, I would say that.
Okay.
I don't think that would show your age.
But are you agreeing that the kids might be like 2019?
Yeah, the kids would say 2019. I would say that.
Because next
year.
But
I think I'd say both. I don't think that I would discriminate against either.
I'll be honest with you. Probably next year I'll do 2020. Just because it just rolls off the tongue.
Sounds more futuristic a little bit.
I know. And nothing really is that different.
2020.
I know. Or 2020. See, like, say 2020, I'll say 2020. 1, 2, 3, 2020.
2020.
See how quicker I was? Like, right now, if I said 2020, I feel like I have to take a nap.
I think mine sounded better.
I know it sounds
the way that I said it, just because of my voice.
Because that sounds real.
2020.
Like, yeah, that sounds like if it was a movie from 1974, it's like in the year 2020. But if you say in the year 2020, someone's like, what? That sounds
boring.
Weird.
Meh.
Boo. Anyway, so we'll figure it out. That's my job. That's not yours. You watch the show. You listen to the show. My job is to figure all that stuff out. Second thing that I want to talk about is one, like, we always have, like, like you have your New Year's resolutions, all that kind of stuff. I didn't come up with my New Year's resolution until about 2 days ago, which was well into 2019. See, I did it.
Oh.
Anyways, so I've been really wanting, to figure out what because always, a standard thing you want to do is lose weight. That's like standard since I was like 9 years old.
Everyone. I'll work out next month.
You'll work out next month?
I work out in February of each year.
You should, because in January it's packed.
Yeah, and then February I'm determined, and I usually go every single day of February, and then I don't go the rest of the year.
Because you're like, I'm adequately in shape, and that should last
That's all
me
I
for the
need.
rest of the year.
Yep.
I got adequately toned, and I'm ready to rock.
Yeah.
There you go. Anyway, so I hadn't really come up with my own thing. But then on Netflix, there was a documentary about Bill Murray.
Okay.
And this guy did an investigation about, you hear on the internet and stuff like that, or you see on the internet, or hear because you listen. Like right now you're hearing on the internet.
Oh.
Always these weird stories about Bill Murray. Like he would sit there and be like, Bill Murray was like, someone was sitting in a Burger King, like cleaning the bathroom, and then all of a sudden Bill Murray just shows up and starts cleaning toilets. Like those type of stories. Like he steals a fry, or he puts, people's, his hands over their eyes, or shows up and does karaoke.
I've never heard these stories.
These are famous, and you really need to get more in touch with the young people if you don't know this. Anyway, so he has all sorts of these sorts of stories. So they did a documentary where the guy interviewed the people who did the stories to see if they were real. And they were absolutely real. Where like all of a sudden, like this guy's having a house party in Austin. He invites a band, and the person carrying the gear in was Bill Murray.
How does this person who's interviewing the person know that they're telling the truth?
Because they have like videos and pictures of Bill Murray in their house and stuff like that. And then another person talked about like, you know, Bill Murray was just at a college house party and all of a sudden decides to do the dishes. Like that kind of stuff.
That seems nice.
Yeah. And well, the thing is eventually they analyzed why he does this. And the big thing that Bill Murray says is, A, he loves to live in the moment and he feels it wakes him up. Like what he does is he'll just see someone playing like kickball. He'll say like, hey, can I play kickball? And he'll play kickball for 15 minutes and be like, you know, that was fun. And then he just goes away. And everyone in is like, wow, that was a great moment. We got to play kickball with Bill Murray. And Bill Murray's like, that was a great moment. I got to play kickball today. That was a fun thing to do.
That's cute.
So
I want to be like that.
Exactly. That's my New Year's resolution. I want to be more in the moment. I want to be more there. And it helped because I'll be honest with you, Krish is out there and he can hear what I'm talking about. I did his podcast. And he said, hey, I'm doing comedy this weekend with a guy named Stuart Huff. You should come by Hambones and watch it. Now, I'll be honest with you, I was very nice and said, sure. But in the back of my mind, I was like, there's no way I'm doing this. There's no way I'm going to go out there. Because to be honest with you, I had shows on Friday and I had shows on Sunday. Saturday night was my only one where I wasn't. So I was kind of like, hey, I'm going to watch NFL football and do whatever. But then I saw this documentary and I said, you know what? I'm going to be in the moment. I'm going to go see this comedy show and see what it's about because Krish said he was really cool and other people said he was really cool. So I saw Krish and he did his set and it was really nice. It was really cool. And then Stuart Huff got up there and I'm stating this right now on my show. Stuart Huff did a 45-minute set, which was as good as any comic I'd ever seen. And I'm saying I've seen Dave Chappelle live. I've seen Louis C.K. live. I've seen Jerry Seinfeld live. This guy's 45 minutes was as inspiring and as funny and as thought-provoking a set that I'd ever seen in my life.
Damn.
We could do a whole show based upon some of the points that he made in his show. That's how good he was. Huh. And then afterwards, Krish and Stuart and myself went outside and we talked for like 45 minutes to an hour.
Did you clean anyone's dishes, though?
I didn't. That's a new thing. I should have just gone in behind the bar and done bartending because that's another thing he does.
Yeah, I feel like you could only do that if you're Bill Murray.
I understand, but I want to be famous enough to where, like, locally I'm Mike Sasson. So, like, hey, Mike Sasson did bartending. And people are like, yeah, he probably works there. He needs money. But anyways, the point being is I was in the moment. I did do the thing, and it turned out great. So, again, my new thing is I want to be in the moment, Alex.
I'm really proud of you. I can give you a lot of books about that, Mike.
Well, do you live in the moment?
I would like to think so.
When was the last thing you did that was just spontaneous and cool and made people's day? What was the last thing?
Every day of my life is like that.
Okay, but you got to be a little bit better about that. What particularly recently?
I don't know. I don't know. I can't think of anything.
Well, you think of something.
I feel like most things, I don't know if that's technically spontaneous.
Yeah, spontaneous is you just see someone, they're in the park, they're throwing a football around. And
technically what you did wasn't completely spontaneous.
It was completely spontaneous. I wasn't planning on doing it. I'm going to the comedy show. I wasn't planning on it per se. Guy invited me. I said, sure, I'll go. That kind of stuff. That's spontaneous. I didn't plan it. I didn't sit there and say, this Saturday at 10 o'clock, I'm going to the comedy show.
Yeah.
That's why, again, Bill Murray inspired me. I want to inspire other people. So congratulations. And again, if you ever see Stuart Huff anywhere, go see him. He's absolutely amazing. Coming up next, we will have Alex's bar thoughts and experiences. And then after that, we're going to have Krish Mohan on. Going to be talking about his new comedy taping here at the Fun House of Mr. Smalls. And you know what? Then it's going to be Aaron Kleiber and Jason Clark. Then we're going to have everybody here. We're going to do news and notes. It's going to be fun. It's going to be spontaneous. It's going to be incredible. And then we'll do some kids' dishes. It's going to be amazing. Again, you're listening to The River's Edge at www.riversedgepgh.com. My name is Mike Sasson. We'll be right back. back. My name is Mike Sasson. This is my show, hence the name, The Mike Sasson Show. You're listening to us on The River's Edge at www.riversedgepgh.com. Coming up after this, we're going to have Krish Mohan talking about his new comedy show taping here at the Mr. Small's Funhouse here in beautiful Millvale, Pennsylvania. And then after that, we will have Aaron Kleiber and Jason Clark. It's going to be so many comedians in this room. It's going to be physically impossible for you to not be laughing your freaking ass off. That's my promise. And you know what? Alex, do I deliver on my promises?
Yes.
There you go. And one promise that I always have is that every week, Alex, who loves to drink, that's her 2019 resolution, to get more alcohol into her system and then tell us about it. It's Bar Thoughts and Experiences with Alex. Alex, play your theme song.
Maybe y'all can relate. My style's dope any way that you slice it. It's a fresh cut, hope that you like it.
Again, here it is, Bar Thoughts and Experiences.
It's a party in here
I know,
tonight.
We got the green room party going on in there. It's incredible. We got Aaron already. Krish is going on. Aaron is just dancing like he's a machine. There's Jason Clark, the sexiest man alive that's not named me. I mean, it's unbelievable what's going on in there. So it's going to be a fun show. Alex, but you're talking about Bar Thoughts and Experiences.
I'm going to compete for sexiest man alive next year.
You know what? I would think you'd be okay with it.
Yeah.
There you go.
So last week we did a list of things that I was supposed to do on New Year's Eve while I was drinking at the bar. And I decided that one of my New Year's resolutions is to never make a list like that to do at the bar again.
Yeah, I wanted to know. You made 19 things.
I made 19 things, and I literally so I did go through the list again like today and tried to check off which ones I think that I did.
Okay.
And the only ones I could actually like remember were like make a drunken New Year's resolution, and my resolution was to not do this.
Okay.
Dance alone because I do that. Literally, one of my friends came to the bar, and the next day I was like, "Oh, did you like? What was I doing whenever you came to the bar?" And they were like, "You were just standing on the dance floor alone." It's like
not even dancing.
That seems right. I guess not.
You were just
standing there, like real sad.
See this beautiful woman in a beautiful dress just sitting alone. I can't imagine every guy was just sitting there going, "Is this a trap?"
No one talked to me.
Aww. Wait a minute. Men of Pittsburgh, what the hell are you doing?
I literally really, really tried to kiss someone at midnight. Didn't happen. I literally did a finger motion to someone to like get them over towards me, like made eye contact with them at least 10 minutes before the ball dropped. And
how did you know where they weren't with somebody?
They were with another guy, so they could have been gay, I guess. But
so you're trying to convert
don't make eye contact with me if you're gay.
Yeah. Okay. New Year's resolution for gay men in Pittsburgh: don't make eye contact with Alex unless you want to make out. That's
seriously.
Yeah, seriously.
That's like just mean.
Yeah, that's mean.
Especially 10 minutes before the ball drops, and you can tell that I'm alone because I'm just standing in a corner by myself. I popped champagne before we went out for the night. We drank a giant bottle of champagne, which is why I probably don't remember a lot of things.
Okay.
And then I watched the Rose Bowl on New Year's Day. So I did 4 of the 19 things.
The Rose Bowl football game.
Yeah.
That's the prettiest bowl game.
Such pretty helmets.
Yes.
Oh, loved them.
And a great grass. Wonderful grass.
Sure, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I love the grass.
totally noticed that.
Yeah. And the mountains and stuff. It's nice.
Yeah. So yeah, I decided that I'm never making a list again. See, what I don't get is that I've seen people do lists like this for like their 21st birthdays. Like I've been in a bar before when someone was doing this.
Okay.
And honestly, it seems to me like if you were doing this for your 21st birthday and you remember to do everything on your list, you're not getting drunk enough on your 21st birthday.
Here's what you got to do. You need a buddy, like a designated driver. You need a designated list person who basically checks off the list. So you're just living life. You're spontaneous like Bill Murray. You need someone, and maybe you give them a little buck, a little side. Like, hey, your job, you stay stone sober, okay? I'll buy all the soda pop and water you need. But your job is to watch me and make sure that anything I do off this list, you check it out. So then the next day, they just fax it to you or email it or whatever the kids do in 2019. Did it again.
Oh, God.
That, make sure you know it. Because, again, you got to live life. You can't be making lists.
Yeah.
You're not some lame-o list person. You're Alex Clemens. You're living life.
See, I have, so like one of the girls that I have seen done this, it was her 21st birthday. I was at a bar, and she had the list around her neck, like literally like tied around her neck. She had this big piece of paper that had the list on it. So that's good because then other people can see the list. And so she came up to my table. I was with a bunch of my friends, and she was like, hey, can you guys help me out with my list? And I was like, sure. So I took a look at it, and I was like, what can I help you out with? I helped her out with kissing a girl on her 21st birthday.
Were you the girl she kissed?
Yes.
God bless you.
I was with a bunch of dudes.
Okay.
So one of the other ones that I tried to help her with, it was like, get a hot guy's number.
Okay.
So I was like, I'm with a ton of dudes. Like, I'm sure any one of them would be happy to give you their number.
What if she just sat there and went, none of these people are hot, and then walked away?
That's exactly what she did.
Oh, that sucks.
She made like a disgusted face and then walked the other way. I found it hilarious. The people I was with did not find it as hilarious.
Were you saying any of the guys with you could qualify as hot?
I would, yeah.
Okay, then that's bullshit by this lady.
Yeah, I mean, I wasn't going to say anything. I thought it was pretty funny, but...
I think it's mean and awful, and I hope she had a horrible 21st birthday.
So if you do make lists, I guess strap them around your neck and have a buddy.
I say list buddy.
But also, just get drunk.
I agree.
You don't need lists.
Okay, but in 2020, I think list buddy...
Yeah, maybe.
Okay, so again, if you want to be Alex's list buddy for 2020, put it on and comment, and maybe that'll be a contest we do.
Yeah. Another one of my resolutions, I think, for, 2019?
Yeah.
I need to ease back on doing Rumpelmann shots.
Okay.
I have found that this is a big problem for me.
Okay.
Just in the past couple months.
Okay.
That anytime I do a Rumpelmann shot, I tend to die afterwards and not remember anything. And I've been going back to the same bar, and all the bartenders know me, and they're like, what do you want to drink, Alex? And I'm like, I don't know. And they're like, Rumpelmann? So I'm like, sure. Because anytime anyone offers me anything, I'm like, yes, absolutely.
This is where your buddy making a list could sit there and be like, Alex, you'll be like an advisor.
I honestly don't think that I could find any of my friends that would want to not get as drunk as me to help me.
You need some less alcoholic friends.
I need someone who's like a super fan of me, who's not going to be like creepy, just like a cool super fan that will follow me around and help me out with my drinking.
For free.
For free, just to say that they hung out with me.
Hanging out with you.
To post pictures with me. I'll take as many photos with you as you want if you want to follow me around and help me drink.
Do you know who honestly would do it? Bill Murray.
You think?
Bill Murray would totally do
We
it.
could have a cute friendship.
I know. I think that you would be honestly.
What if we end up falling in love?
Then you'd fall in love with Bill Murray.
Is he married?
Probably. I don't know. I don't know enough about him.
I'm okay with that.
Okay.
We'll fall in love.
There you go. You fall in love. The heart does what the heart does. Anyways, is that it?
Yeah, sure.
Thank you. Yeah, sure, Mike. Whatever.
Let's get this over with.
Yeah, get this over with.
We have enough people on the show today.
Yeah. Anyways, thank you very much, Alex, for a tremendous bar
you're welcome.
Anyways, coming up next, we got Krish Mohan, who's going to be discussing his brand new album recording that's happening in a couple weeks here at the Mr. Small's studio at the Fun House. So it's going to be fun. And then Aaron Kleiber and Jason Clark are out there. They're our buddies now on the River's Edge. We're going to be talking to them. It's a show so packed. It's like an old Merv Griffin. It's going to be amazing. I think we're going to start drinking and wearing plaid. It's going to be like the 70s. I might have to start smoking. Who knows what's going to happen? It's a wonderful show. It's the Mike Sasson Show on the River's Edge at www.riversedgepgh.com. We'll be right back. Again, you are listening to The River's Edge, where you get the best local music and the best talk. You are listening to The Mike Sasson Show on The River's Edge at www.riversedgepgh.com or on any of the on any of the podcast formats, Google Play, SoundCloud, or iTunes. Again, if you want to listen to it at any of the past shows, like you just want to binge as you're driving across the country, getting away from the law, then you just go on any of the podcast formats, and then you just find The River's Edge, and you'll see all of the great podcasts, and including The Mike Sasson Show. Next to me, one of my good friends in the Pittsburgh comedy scene. Actually, you're national. You're all over the place. You're
a little bit.
Yeah, you're all over.
Yeah.
If there's a bar, if there's a city that you feel that no person has ever visited, this gentleman has done comedy in front of someone looking very puzzled in front of it.
That's my wheelhouse.
That's Krish's wheelhouse. Speaking of Krish Mohan, second time on the show, but first time in the studio.
First time in the studio.
Because we had you with your beautiful wife now. Before, I think it was
just
the
fiance. Yeah.
Yep. I love. It's so weird because I view you as being kind of new and progressive, but then I hear my wife, and I just sit there and I go, wow, that sounds very kind of traditional, like my wife and my fiance and my husband. It's almost like we need to come up with like new, cooler, hipper words for it. I don't know, or as wife and husband. I don't know.
I like it. I don't mind it too much.
I understand marriage, but I'm saying the words. That's what I'm.
Yeah, I don't know if I hate the term wife.
I
I
don't hate it, but I'm just saying.
Like, I don't know. I guess it's like what you want to do with it. Like both of us were like, we don't really do traditional gender roles and stuff. It's like I do most of the cooking in the house. I like that. Mm-hmm. The only thing I don't do is fold laundry.
Well, I don't fold laundry in general. I just throw it in a hamper, and if it comes out wrinkled, then I'm just living my life.
Yeah, if that's why we're not folding laundry, then I don't care.
Yeah, there you go. Beautiful.
That's my philosophy at this point.
And that's a beautiful philosophy. Yeah. And again, Krish is a comic, travels all over the country. He's based out of here in Pittsburgh. But you will be recording your new album in a few weeks.
Yes.
What's the date?
February 1st.
February 1st, so it's coming up. And you will be recording it here at the Fun House at Mr. Small's. If you've ever been, there's Mr. Small's, the big theater that's like, I think seats 65,000 people. And then you have the Fun House, which is like a nice, tight, cool room for comedy. And the thing about that room, which is amazing because I've done comedy in that room, is it's a cool, tight room, but they've got a soundboard in there that looks like it came from a Kiss concert.
Yeah.
It came like from Pink Floyd, The Wall.
It's intense. That soundboard is one of the most intense things.
And it's in a room because there's a bar, and you're like, oh, it's a nice room, everything like that. And then there's a guy behind there who just looks really like, you ever see someone who just looks like they know what they're doing?
Danny.
And he just looks like he just like, he could legitimately just decide to like launch missiles and all that kind of stuff while you're just doing a dick joke on stage.
Danny has, I've known Danny for a couple years. I used to do the Monday night acoustic open stage at a club cafe when it was there, and now it's here. Yeah. It's literally happening right now.
Yeah, right now in the courtyard, they sometimes take pictures of the back of our heads if we don't put this blue sheet down. Yeah.
So I've known Danny from there, but like Danny always has these like crazy band stories where you just sit there listening to it, and he goes, you're just like, what the hell are you talking about? And he's like, oh, well, there was a time that AC/DC was just, chugging beer on stage, and then they spilt some beer because they couldn't chug it because they're old, and it's spilt on the monitor.
But that's the only way they know how to play music anymore. It's just by getting shit-faced drunk.
And they almost got electrocuted. Like, he's got these wild stories because he's literally, like, he used to roadie for a bunch of bands, and he's literally seen a shit ton of bands come through Pittsburgh and through Club Cafe. Like, Henry Rollins apparently brings his own, like, giant speakers for his speaking tours, which is like, why do you...
He needs to be heard. He needs to be heard.
3 towns over.
3 towns, yeah. But it's so weird about like Henry Rollins. Every time I've listened to his or watch his shows or anything like that, you're expecting him to come out this punk rock, and then he'll just be like very articulately describing the benefits of supply side economics, and you're just like. You're supposed to be screaming to tell us to break down the establishment and stuff like that. But it's a beautiful thing. Again, that has to be that's why stand-up comedy gets on Netflix. It's got to be the cheapest thing. I bet you that's why Henry Rollins did it. He's like, wait a minute. Will people just show up to the show just to watch me talk for an hour and a half and I keep all the money? Yeah, cool. Let's just do that. Except I need to invest in speakers. That's the only thing
that's his green M&M's moment right there.
Yeah.
Is I have to have my giant Yamahas.
Yes.
And I have to have 4 of them stacked to the ceiling.
Yes. That's his Van Halen moment. Absolutely.
All right, Uncle Hank, you can do whatever you want.
Now, if you've ever seen Krish or you follow Krish, you know that you have a political viewpoint. You label yourself social vigilante. Now, let me ask you a question. In the era of Trump, has it made it easier or harder for you to come up with material since, like, on one hand, the material just seems to write itself, but on the other hand, it doesn't. It seems maybe a little bit of a darker time. How are you approaching being a political comedian in this era?
I'll say 2 things. One, I think Trump is exhausting. He is. I think he as far as somebody that likes to distract us from real issues, boy, he's doing a hell of a job, and it is exhausting keeping up. You know?
There are situations where, like, on a Thursday, he'll be, like, the most unbelievable thing he did, and then people will bring up something he did Monday, and it'll seem like it was a year ago.
Yeah. Yeah,
Like,
it's just he just piles every single day. It's just like this stack of bullshit that just keeps going up. And the hard part is, like, you have to decipher what is just him throwing out whatever's coming to his mind right away, and what is, like, a legitimate problem.
Yes.
That's like, oh no, we have to address this, or we might all die.
Yeah.
But what I will say that I think, and this might be an unpopular statement, but let me explain. I think he's probably the best thing to happen to this country, in the sense that this is either the first time that a lot of people are paying attention to politics closely, or starting to pay attention to politics again closely. And regardless of where you fall on the political spectrum, I think that's great, right? I think that makes it very hard for politicians to hide certain things in, specific bills. Like, I remember at one point a couple of years ago when they were trying to essentially take down net neutrality again. Yeah. This was like SOPA or PIPA, one of those 2 bills. Essentially, they lost, and then they tried to re-put that bill into, like, an infrastructure bill, so people have to vote yes on it.
Yeah.
And by voting, like, you can't do that anymore.
Yeah.
Like, people will figure it out, and they'll find that loophole, and then they'll go, why does that loophole exist?
Yes.
And everybody's like, yeah, we've been yelling about that for 5 years, too. Welcome to the party. There's cake.
Well, that's one of the things about, like, this past midterm is that, like, the highest participation.
Yeah.
And also the other thing, like, for instance, Elizabeth Warren just announced that she's running for president. Yeah. And the funny thing about it was when I saw it, and I'm just sitting there going, I don't know if she has much of it. And I caught myself in mid-sentence going, I'll never say that again. Not after Donald Trump. I'll never say that a human being has no chance to ever become president ever again after, because I can remember saying it. I remember I was on the Jim Crenn morning show, and we would be making fun of it because we were sitting there going, "Oh, this is going to be over in 2 weeks."
That's what everybody.
This is going to be over. We got to take advantage of this now, because eventually everyone's going to stop doing this. But and I remember it really didn't come to fruition until election night, when I sat there and when he just walked on stage. And I remember I was on the phone with my sister out in California, and I'm just sitting there going, I can't believe I'm seeing this.
Yeah.
And so for the rest of my life, which at my size is about 5-10 years, anyways, in no way will I ever say that a person does not have a chance to be president, governor, anything like that after those situations. So,
well, right, and it's very difficult to call the election where, like Georgia, for example, the governor race in Georgia was basically a man that Brian Kemp, his platform was, I'm going to kidnap immigrants to deport them. That's pretty much what it was. Like his ad campaign was literally like, I've got a truck and I'm going to deport immigrants with it. And it's like, no, that's called kidnapping, Brian.
Yeah.
And that's illegal, like everywhere.
Yeah.
And Stacey Abrams, who was the first black woman who ran for governor.
Yeah.
Right? And everybody on the left was like, well, she's a shoo-in. And I was like, I'd like to think so.
Yeah.
I think that would be a really great thought.
Yeah.
And I think she should win because she aligns with everything that I'm saying. But it's Georgia. And, there's a shit ton of gerrymandering in Georgia.
There's a shit ton of gerrymandering everywhere. And that's, again, part of the whole being, aware of what's going on no matter what's going on. So, again, Again, February 1st at the Mr. Small's Funhouse here in beautiful Millvale, Pennsylvania. Will it just? Who else is on the show? Is it just you, or who else is going to be on the show?
Liz is going to be opening up. My wife, Liz Victory, she's going to be opening up with some music.
Incredible musician,
wonderful musician.
I mean, here's the thing why she's so talented. We talked about this on your podcast. I'm impressed with people that can sing and play guitar at the same time because I can do neither, and she does it spectacularly. So just incredible talent.
Yeah,
so who else
awesome.
is on?
We've got Stacey Flureem and Vincent Didiano opening up as well, who are two great up-and-coming comics in the city. Awesome. I've known Vincent for a long time. P.O. Vincent.
Yes.
Live streams on Thursdays.
Absolutely. I've been on the show. We watched a horrible movie about, I think, body snatchers or something. I blocked it out of my brain.
No, as you should. I
think that was the point. Vincent bought me a pizza and then made me watch a movie that was horrible.
He knows how to get to your heart.
Yeah. If you buy me a pizza, I'll watch anything. It doesn't really matter. So then, finally, what I will, moving forward, do you feel as though, are you more, like you sit there and say this is the best thing, are you more positive that things are about to change than you were maybe 2-3 years ago, or are you just sitting there going, I'm just keeping on type deal?
I don't think I'm not going to ever stop being an optimist. That's kind of my thing.
Have to be. Yeah.
I believe in humanity. I think we have the potential to make the right choices. Sometimes we don't, and it's disappointing and frustrating. But yeah, I'm a little bit more positive. I don't think we're done. I think the big challenge is whatever happens in 2020, we got to keep fighting for what we've been fighting for the last 2 years.
Yep.
And the main thing is we have to stop fighting each other.
Yes.
When we can stop doing that, it's like, we can accomplish so much.
Yes, absolutely. And then finally, I was on a podcast with you. We recorded it. It was a great conversation. When can people hear that, and what's the name of that podcast?
That podcast is called Taboo Table Talk, and Mike's episode will probably be out in 2, maybe 3 weeks.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because here's the thing. I was on it. I wasn't even sure what the name was. I just knew Krish was doing a podcast, and he was just like, hey, Mike, come to my living room. I'll give you a water and a beer. And again, Vincent got me on his with a pizza. He was a water and a beer. So again, if you want me to be on your show, maybe I shouldn't say this to bookers. But yeah, pretty much food.
Get him a pizza.
Yeah, get me a pizza. I'll show up. We'll go from there. And also, this is going to be cool. Krish, if you want to stick around, we're going to have the great Aaron Kleiber and the great Jason Clark. They are now family members here on the River's Edge. We're going to be talking to them. Their podcast, their show is after the Mike Sasson Show on Tuesday. We're going to be talking to them. And then afterwards, with news and notes, we're just going to get every comedian within about a mile radius of this studio. We're going to get them in here, and we're going to figure out if we can make something funny. Who the hell knows what we can do? Let's see what happens. Anyways, Aaron Kleiber and Jason Clark are next. Krish, thank you very much. Again, February 1st.
February 1st.
Mr. Small's Funhouse, great room for comedy. And if you ever want to learn sound engineering, there's legitimately a board that's the size of Heinz Field in that room. You can watch it. It's got a TV. It monitors Trump's bedroom habits. It's unbelievable. Again, my name is Mike Sasson. Up next, Aaron Kleiber, Jason Clark. It's going to be funny as hell, hopefully. Anyways, they'll be great. I'll be the one. I'm the anchor. Anyways, it's up next. See you. Bye. This is either the best idea I've ever had, or I don't know if this is. This is awesome. Look at this comedy.
This is great.
This comedy, just Mount Rushmore. Look at
This is great.
This is America.
I said we look like we invited Krish on Fox News.
Yeah,
I'm the
you're the person that we gang up on.
Yeah.
You just sit there going, "What do you mean we shouldn't build the wall?"
And of course, the snowflake produces the whole show.
Yeah, there you go.
The smart one.
Yeah, the
Smart one's behind the board.
Yeah, the one who doesn't agree with anything but the check clears. So hi,
Yeah.
Tim.
This isn't our podcast, so I could say something political, right,
Yes,
Jay?
absolutely.
Hey, you live your life, man. It's all good.
You
I don't care if we tank his
You always look good.
listeners.
I always like. I honor and also make fun of Jason for looking good, but this is
It's called
This is
jealousy,
nice.
folks.
yeah,
It's
it
called
is. I am
jealousy.
jealous.
Let's
And
get-
friends
let's-
shouldn't be jealous. Am
I've
I
n-
correct?
no, they
Friends
shouldn't.
should never
No,
be
no, no. I'm not
envious.
jealous.
Should
Never
be
jealous.
Yes.
Never jealous.
No.
Always like look how
Just
much
don't
I'm
use the
touching
word.
you.
Yeah,
Just
Alex,
don't
is
use
this
the
working
word.
out?
Yeah, no.
Yeah,
word is not
it's
good.
great.
Okay. Anyways, you listen to the Mike
Best
Sasson
show
Show
ever.
on the River's Edge at www.riversedgepgh.com. We're keeping Krish around because, again, we just love him to death. Again, watch his come to the Mr. Smalls Fun House on February 1st, where you can see him do his album recording. But next, I have now my River's Edge brothers. Yeah. My brothers, Aaron Kleiber, Jason Clark,
Brothers.
Grown
No, I want to
Dad-
give you. I want to give you a.
Okay,
I want to
wait.
give you a predator.
The whole thing.
Oh, you
I just had
son
this
of a
whole thing where
bitch.
you were missing.
I know.
I was taking the mic in the tooth. And
I
the
know.
whole thing.
Sorry.
I just felt that was about to happen. I got
Yeah.
real scared.
Yeah.
I
Sorry.
did.
And I wanted you to do the entire segment just with a bleeding lip
Yeah.
and see if you could tough it out.
I would.
Yeah,
I would.
there
For
you-
you?
Oh, for me? I don't know about that shirt though. Your wife would just scream down here, running out, and ruining a shirt like that.
Nah, my
Oh
wife-
no, she wouldn't
that's-
scream.
That's
He would freak out.
I'm the
Okay.
fat. We both. I mean, we both. But I mean, I take care of my own fashion.
Yo, yeah, they're
Wait,
they're-
she's not at all. She gives no pointers.
It's more of like
They're good.
We both go back and forth. Of like, what do you think of this? And we'll talk about everything from skin tone to what it looks like with that color.
Well, let me ask you a question. Have you worn something recently that she has said absolutely not, but you have put your foot down and said no, I'm gonna.
No, I trust everything.
Okay.
I trust her opinion.
There you
like
go.
it's a general. Every time like when we're going out, my wife will walk out with 2 different shoes on and say, "Pick a shoe. What goes
Yeah.
better with this?" And I'll do the same thing with. mine.
I
So
long
it's
for the
whatever.
day like when Jason talks about dressing up and seeing these guys. They always look like they're running for Senate.
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
they just always look gorgeous.
Uh-huh.
And I'm just like, and I'm sitting here with like baby food in my hair,
Yeah.
and I'm just like, I can't wait. One day, Jason, I'm gonna wear
Yeah.
a suit coat with you
Yeah.
like a grown man.
Yeah.
Like one day, I'm gonna be with
Yeah,
you.
It's a whole thing, I guess. I
Yeah.
don't know.
There you
It's,
go.
I love it.
But
it's-
this is what it is. It's Grown Dad Business. It's
Yeah.
going to
Yeah.
be right after the
Yeah.
Mike Sasson Show on the River's Edge.
Yeah.
Again, at www.riversedgepgh.com. Again, when I heard you guys were coming on, I felt a sense of pride because of the fact of how much this station has grown to
Yeah,
the
dude.
point that you guys
Yeah.
can come over here and it's again been listening to the show and again been on podcasts all over. And the fact that you guys coming over here feels great. Again, kudos to the Godfather himself, Brian Crawford.
Dude.
Well,
And
it
honest,
started
that's
a couple
the reason.
months ago.
Yeah.
We started talking.
Well,
to
I talked to Brian like a year ago, and then, we just have so many things.
Yeah, I have a connection with Brian just from this fact that, like, we're from the same hometown. Like,
Okay.
and so, it was one of those deals. You're, like, running in, like, these circles that are sort of butting into each other and sort of crossing over. And we knew what was happening at River's Edge. We were watching it and paying attention a lot. And then you were doing your thing. And we just sat down one
Yeah, and
day.
I
and
always
just
love
started,
what you guys do.
Yeah, we just started talking and said, we've been doing this now. We have 150 episodes together.
Yeah.
Correct?
No, not 150
How many?
together.
I thought that's what we said the other night.
We're on like 144, something like
We're
that.
at 152.
How could you be that far off?
Because he said that to me. He said that to me the other night when we were in the man
Yeah,
quarters
we're
just
going
chilling.
we're going towards like 150, and I guess Jason, you started around like 60 something.
I think it might.
Yeah,
be.
yeah. So we're getting on 100 together soon. But
Yeah.
and we still have stuff. Can you believe we still have stuff to talk about?
We always. I mean, yeah.
Yeah, wait.
But the problem is with us. And we have like this. 2019. We're gonna do some different things about the
Okay,
podcast.
well let's talk about quickly. I don't want to
Yeah.
stop you.
Yeah.
Is it 2019 or 2019?
2019.
2019.
You're saying you're going with
It
2019?
depends. I don't know.
I can go back and forth.
Depends on what country.
I'm
I'm
not
in. I have no
locked in.
idea.
I don't know. I
do you
don't know
say
if you
it?
listened to earlier in the show. A person called me old because I said 2019, and they go, "Oh no, the kids are saying 2019." And I'm trying to
was
figure
that a
out.
BuzzFeed article?
I don't know why this is an
Where
important
did we
issue.
learn this?
Yeah.
No,
Right?
apparently
It's
it was
like,
an
what?
older woman. It's like in her 60s. She's like, "Oh, you're showing your age."
You
Chris,
know
you,
what?
you read the news trades. Was that a thing?
Yeah.
Hey, you know
Am
what
I wrong?
And you know what
not.
you know what I say to
Yeah.
that lady? What's my favorite phrase to the older folks?
Greatest generation, my ass.
I yelled that at a woman holding a spot outside Oakmont Bakery 2 years ago.
Yeah.
Aaron and I were trying to find a parking place at Oakmont Bakery, and we're driving through, and this lady's just standing in this parking space, and I roll up on her. I want this spot. She's standing there, man, and she looks at me. And looks at
She
but
won't even make eye contact.
She
It's
doesn't make
almost
eye
like
contact.
it's almost like when you're like, look at me, but look at my ear.
it reminded-
She was like looking past him.
I had flashbacks. It reminded me of the movie Heavyweights when the
Okay.
kid's at the thing going, not to come into the camp. And you know what I mean? But he never looks at the kids. He just straight ahead. This lady just looked straight ahead and went,
What is it
She
with
goes-
people in bakeries doing that? My aunt has made me
Yeah.
do that before, like stand in a parking space at a bakery.
Well, they got to run and pick up the cake.
Yeah.
But
Right?
like, why?
But this lady, the way
That's
that
crazy.
she move alonged him, she,
It
if you're
instantly came
watching
out.
live on
Instantly came out of
Facebook,
me.
she was just like looking away, like
yeah.
like almost like
Yeah.
she was giving a little smack on a tush tush. She
And
was
I,
just,
and I had that window down,
was
and
just
it
like,
was so
"Oh."
fast, and I didn't yell
no,
it
wait, before you said
aggressively.
it, I looked at you, I was like, oh shit.
Yeah, I didn't yell it aggressively or anything like that. I just looked out and I just went, "Greatest generation, my ass."
Well, here's the thing
Like,
about
really?
this.
She heard it too.
But here's the thing.
She
though.
scoffed
the
audibly.
greatest generation is the people that went through the Depression, World War II.
Yeah,
Those people
yeah,
are in
yeah.
their late 90s.
Oh, yeah.
The
Yeah.
old people today are the people that were, screwing in the back of cars in the 50s. This is Grease generation.
Well, I just, it's just a thing where, it just proves that the greatest generation, not 100% of them.
Yeah.
Yes.
Listen, I wasn't going for
There
a
were a couple-
factual
there were-
landing. I didn't know how old she was. She was just older than me, and I just thought,
there
you
were-
think your generation
There
is
are a
shit.
couple a-holes,
Yeah.
right?
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's what. Now, okay, I want to get deep into something.
We got
okay?
our fucking donuts, though.
We're getting deep?
We're getting deep.
I said we got our fucking
That's a
donuts
real
though,
question.
that day.
Okay.
We
That's
found a
what I was
parking
wondering.
spot.
All right, so I got to do this. Okay, so over the holidays, I went to my first baby shower. Okay, because I have two sisters that are pregnant, which means I've got two men.
Don't you have 40 sisters? What do you
I have 38 sisters, not 40.
And 11 brothers.
Quit disparaging my mom. Anyways,
Congratulations.
thank you. No, I didn't do anything. Anyways, so the fact that means I've got two men in my life, my brothers-in-law, that are about to become fathers.
Yeah.
What is it that they need to know moving forward quickly? You only got a couple minutes. Don't tell me like 50 minutes.
Oh, okay. Yeah, sure.
Yeah. What are they about to enter into? What are some things that they really need to know right off the bat about becoming a father really quick? Like some quick ones. Because you're not give me like, I know this is the whole podcast, but tell me quickly, what are some things they need to know?
I don't even know if we've ever talked about that on our podcast.
I mean, we talked.
They're
Well, we
first-time
talked to
parents.
We
They're
talked to
first-time
Jeff.
First-time
parents.
We
parents.
talked to Jeff Conkle. About having
We
two.
did, because he was about to have his
He
baby.
was going to have a second, which things get real. Honestly, if I could just quote my favorite windbreaker from 1990, no fear, bro. No fear.
My turn.
Yeah.
Just saying.
So,
You just
By the
gotta go
way,
in.
No Fear was the shit. I'm
Yeah,
just
oh my
telling you
God.
that.
I can quote my favorite windbreaker.
Yeah. Yeah. I thought you were about to say, quote, my favorite windbreaker.
Nike.
Members only.
Just do it. Yeah. I thought he was just going to just do it.
Yeah, just
It was
do
his
it.
Nike windbreaker.
Yeah, that's
you
my
know?
advice.
Or LA
for
Gear.
when people are thinking about having children.
Yes.
I go,
Yeah.
if I can quote my favorite hoodie that I wear to the gym, just do it.
There you go.
Yeah.
All my advice is on apparel.
You just go through games and you're like, I'm living through that one.
Yeah. For me, to a new parent, it's always like, especially, I mean, they're married, or together.
Yeah, they're married.
They're a
They're
couple,
married.
and they're going to raise it. Just understand that you're in this together. Like this
Yeah.
is the ultimate team sport. And if
Yeah.
you want to talk about,
You're absolutely right.
making that alignment, it's you and your co-captain of your team that you're making decisions on the fly. That you've got to sort of know what she or he is.
You got to be a
maybe
team.
going
you,
with.
you can't
And-
have the me versus you
No.
arguments with another human
There
being.
have been
in
many
your house.
decisions that we've made with our kids, and like it's like the perfect thing. He was talking about, I grew up and have a suit jacket, and he's got baby food in his hair. I had baby food in mine. My kids are grown. I mean, 24 and 19, going to be 20. For me, it was always about like I've made decisions that my wife was just like. not necessarily agreeing with, but understood that overall it was probably the right decision, and vice versa. Like my wife,
we've talked about that on our podcast.
Yeah.
It goes through your whole life and marriage.
Yeah,
newlywed.
It's
just you gotta work as a team, man.
Well,
you gotta back each other
up. It's the
all
worst
the
goddamn
time.
job in the world from the standpoint, and I talk about this, because of where I'm at in my stage of life. It's the worst job because you don't get an annual evaluation.
Yeah, dude.
You don't find out till they're out making decisions of whether or not you two did a good job in creating and raising good, kind-hearted, responsible human beings, man. You've got to wait 20 years.
And I see little glimmers of it, like I see, where, my 10-year-old daughter is, you go to teacher conferences and they're like, she's the kindest girl I've met. And I'm like, wow, that's my wife, 100%.
Yes.
So I'm so glad she's like her, And you see little things like that where someone will go, wow, your kids are so good in the restaurant, or and you're like, all right, okay.
But they didn't see the talk that we had out in the car.
Yeah, right.
When we leaned in and we're like, listen,
to God,
you're going into daddy's work right now. You mess up. You embarrass me. All right, here's my son. He's great, isn't he?
But see, that brings
He's just like, yep.
But now
he's saluting old men for no reason.
But that's the thing. You guys are 2019 or 2019 dads. My grandfather.
We're 2019 dads.
But yes, I can remember my grandfather. Again, part of the greatest generation, World War II. This was legitimate. Worked in the docks in Newark Harbor. Would show up at his job started at 6 a.m. So he left. He woke up at 2:30. Went there at 6. Came back at about 2:30 in the afternoon. At 4 o'clock exactly. At 4 o'clock exactly, he had a menu on the refrigerator. He sat down in his chair, and his wife put a meal in front of him exactly as he put it in front of there. Now, the thing about it is, you're talking about a team. My grandma would be raising 8 kids.
She was.
And my grandfather was sitting there going, my job is to bring the paycheck here. Everything else is you. Yeah. Now, in your, obviously, you're 2019 dads. Do you sit there and say, man, there's so much then that he was missing? Or do you sit there and go, God, that'd be amazing?
I was a 1997 dad. Like that's when it all started for me, and I grew up in an environment where my dad did the same thing. He went to work, got up 2:30 in the morning, got home 4, 5, 6 o'clock at night. When he walked in, sat on the table, she had dinner ready, you ate dinner, he sat in the chair, he watched TV, watched the news, went to bed, woke up and did it again. She took care of everything. She was the coach, she was the captain, she was the goddamn kicker. She did it all. And for me, I grew up in a very interesting time where, and we're relatively the same age, where they used to, in school, have the boys took shop class.
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
And the girls took
Dude,
home ec.
I did that. I did that in 96.
No, we all did it. But I was the year when now we had to take both.
Oh, I see.
It never existed before. My brother only took metal shop and only took wood shop. I had to take wood shop, metal shop, cooking, and sewing. And I'm sitting there going, I'm going to tell you one thing I've never done. Other than that day that I made that mountain pie maker in metal shop, I've cooked some food, though. So the idea of the flip of who we were as a generation of men, of being, no, we can cook. My son, who's been cooking since he was a little kid, I tell him, you will never go hungry. You know how to cook. You figured out how to create a meal.
Jason's got good stories of him living with his brother when they were like 19, and you guys eating like
it's 19, man.
Eating like kids.
Yeah,
that's
you just
what
had
you
to
do.
at 19, you had to figure out what you were doing. I was on my own at 19.
But do you feel that is there a part of you that sits there and says that the older generation that just was like, I'm the breadwinner, I come home, the wife takes care of everything. Do you sit there and look at them and go, man, they missed a lot, or man, that'd be
they missed a ton.
Yeah,
they missed everything.
Yeah, and I experienced that because we do kind of have that. I have that. I have that traditional thing where my wife stays at home with my 3 kids, and she does the dishes and cooks and does lot. But that's what she wants. She's like, I like to do this. This is what.
But
I
at
feel
the
like I
same
wanna
time, there is a balance where if you are not. If you want to call that traditional, call it traditional.
Sure.
Call it the way it used to be and the way it is.
Saying right, yeah.
But for that example, the idea is if you're going to have that arrangement and it works for the team,
right?
you better believe you need to be jumping up and saying, you know what,
Absolutely,
you
yeah.
need to lay on the couch.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm going to take care
Yeah.
of this. You know, our roles continue to change and morph
Yeah.
as we get older. Way I work now, my schedule is incredibly flexible. I'm more of a little bit later on the night type of thing with everything with comedy and the arcade comedy theater. Now I'm the one. It's like, my wife. She's like, I don't remember how to cook anymore. You're every day dinner is ready. I'm that role because that's the team. But before she was a stay-at-home mom when I was working when the kids were little, and it worked then, and it was the right situation. But it was a give and take. It was.
We have a good flow just because I am home a little bit, you know. So I have days where I eat 3 meals with my wife and kids. Like it's fun. We like that. You know, we can go like do laundry together. You know, on a Tuesday at 10 a.m.
But then there are certain times, you know, like for me, I mean, back a few years back, you know, there were times where I was working 60, 70 hours a week.
Right.
So guess what? You know, then Melissa was like, my wife, boy, that early on was, you know, she really picked up and took care of things.
Yeah.
And helped me become a father because I went from being a 19-year-old kid on his own, and then a few years later, I've got a child and a wife, and it's like, oh, grow up. It's time. And I'd already had the footwork on that.
Yeah,
so.
and my wife goes through that now with like, you know, I go on the road and sometimes I'm gone for a week, 2 weeks. Yeah. You know, and she's a single mom and that breaks my heart, but she's really good at what she does.
Now, if you're listening to this, guys, and you're sitting there and
We
you're
got
going,
all
this
serious.
is an incredible story. And I'll tell you right now,
good.
it's Grown Dad Business. It's going to be right after the Mike Sasson Show on the River's Edge. Plus, you can find old episodes of the
this is
of Grown Dad Business.
GrownDadBusiness.com. It's on iTunes. You know, you find
Stitcher.
It's Stitcher.
Whatever you're listening to these
Whatever,
days.
it's on.
It's everywhere.
We're on everything.
Podcasts. I mean, it's incredible of the idea of like where we're sort of at right now. Is I love podcasts.
Yeah.
But I was also growing up an AM radio listener because my parents went to bed listening to the radio to go to bed. I became that person, so I've always liked talk radio. I've always liked those things.
Sure.
So in podcasts, the idea that I'm able to go and go, what do I feel like today?
Yeah.
I feel like a crime drama.
Yeah, I feel like listening about murder.
Yeah.
Or aliens.
Yeah, or comedy.
Or how
the
did Bill
things-
Burr start in comedy?
Yeah.
You know, it's crazy.
And looking at where it's at now and where it's now starting to really drift out to the masses more. People that would have never listened to a podcast. They're all terrestrial radio. They would never go to internet radio.
Well, the thing that's getting me now is, again, if you listen to terrestrial radio, they all understand that the future is essentially what we're doing right now because they're saying, hey, listen to XYZ radio station on the
We just
Alexa.
had that long conversation.
We talked about that for about an hour.
iHeartRadio, man, I mean, they're telling you, go listen digitally.
Because they understand.
They
Listen,
get it.
here's the thing. You know, for me, I generally like to listen to, you know, Bill and Randy in the morning. I always have, you know, all the way back to Jimmy and Steve.
Yeah.
And so I've always put the DVE morning show on. And now, of course, you know, it being comedy and Billy and Randy, they're so great to our scene and great for the arcade. But sometimes I can't listen. But if maybe Billy Gardell's on that day and I want to listen to what Billy had to say, but I couldn't listen, they understood. Now I can go and just listen to their show.
Yeah.
I want to listen to just their show. They've understood that it's when the ad dollars start to make a little bit of a move, when terrestrial radio ad dollars are starting to be, if you're a business and you're like, okay, I've got $100,000 to spend on advertising. I've always done terrestrial radio, $100,000 into terrestrial radio. But now podcast seems to be something that people are getting after. Well, maybe now my first year I only put 25% towards podcasting. So now they've got, you know, all this money, $25,000 that they want to put towards podcasting, and we're sitting here going, yeah you're catching up.
And I think it's you know, when people, you know, you want to have a show on terrestrial radio, you know, but I'm like, you know, we just said, I'm like, you can listen to my podcast on now, our podcast on River's Edge, Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
You can listen to it on almost every single podcast.
You're playing
app.
radio talk show host.
Yeah.
I've always said, you look at here in Pittsburgh, Mikey and Big Bob.
Yeah.
They don't have a college education in broadcasting. They went to school. They didn't finish school. They've been best friends from Detroit for years. They were like, let's go get a radio job. And they are honestly done such great things in the city of Pittsburgh. And they knew their niche. They know what to put out in front of them. And they understand that business. But here we are going, anyone can create that.
That's what it is. That's what's beautiful about this show. That's beautiful about the River's Edge.
Yeah.
So again, I appreciate you guys coming on. Again, Grown Dad Business right after the Mike Sasson Show. But right now, this is where the comedy juices come flowing.
Oh, buddy.
This is News and Notes. Get it ready. Play the theme song, Alex.
Get up, stars now.
Now, every week we have fun with millennials, and obviously Alex being here, she loves that.
Yeah, so much.
Anyways,
My favorite thing, insults about millennials.
here it is. Well, this week,
I'm here to defend because
Yeah.
I'm a huge millennial defender.
Yeah.
just
Thank you so
everyone
much.
knows.
He's got millennial kids.
Yeah.
there you go. Well, this
Well,
week,
I think
They're good kids.
I think
They're
I
good
fall
kids.
into that. I feel like I fall into that bracket.
I don't even know what the bracket is. I just
Yeah.
know that I'm in it because I get the mean looks all the time.
anyways, so this week, I guess every week there's like some article because I go scouring the internet to find things to talk
to
about.
find mean things about
Yeah,
me.
mean things about millennials. Well,
He
this,
scours
Yeah.
for this show. You leave him alone.
there you go. Yeah, I just Googled mean shit about millennials. Anyways, so this week the controversy is that there's a bunch of people that say that Seinfeld could not be done today because millennials feel that it's too un-PC. Here is the article from Bustle. It says, the article declares, thanks to more modern understandings of what political correctness entails and why being PC is important, it is less common these days to find jokes like the offensive ones that often played on Seinfeld. So I've always thought of Seinfeld as being very, I mean, again, it's on like 20 times a day on
Very-
TBS and everything like that.
very
Very
vanilla.
My-
yeah.
My original reaction was going to be erroneous.
Yeah.
Erroneous on all counts. But I would need examples.
Well, there are the examples.
Yeah.
The article states
Yeah.
that the militant-like chef known as Soup Nazi, who could decide to serve you bread or crab bisque, is problematic because groups of neo-Nazis have become noticeably emboldened, and using the term Nazi to label someone as a joke is no longer PC.
Yes.
So another one, it says the extremely diverse show with Native Americans, Puerto Ricans, Pakistanis, Japanese, and Ukrainians. The author, though, claims that episode 17 in season 4 was offensive because a journalist thinks Jerry and George are a same-sex relationship, and the basis of the whole episode is worthy of bad jokes, even though that show during that year won a GLAAD Media Award for the depiction of a gay couple. And also he says the one where it called The Shoes is toxic because it claims that cleavage is bad, and if it wasn't for the classic Seinfeld episode, says looking at cleavage is like looking at the sun, you don't stare at it, it's too risky. So essentially saying that all of these things are saying you could not do today
They
because
got an
these are
award
PC.
from the gay organization.
Yes,
Yeah.
and they're saying that show shouldn't have been done today.
So,
I think I don't
well,
have
but
the answers.
it goes along with what we just talked about.
I think people are thinking too hard.
Yeah.
There is no answer.
But it
We're
does
digging a
kinda-
little too deep.
It does go kind of with what we just talked about on our podcast. We just recorded our podcast before we got here, and we did an episode on the Beastie Boys and hip hop. And we were talking about that some of obviously the stuff in the 90s
Oh, yeah, right.
that they did that you look at now and you're like, there's a lot and that you're going to go back. If you're going to pick through how many episodes did Seinfeld
Yeah, like hundreds
do?
of 100 or so episodes.
And you're probably go back and see in the 90s and see the culture that I grew up watching on television about. Look at Jack Tripper.
Yeah.
Look at that whole
Yeah,
setup
yeah.
on that
Archie
show.
Bunker.
Where they used to go Tinkerbell.
Yeah.
They used to
I
do
thought
that.
that was on purpose.
Well,
Yeah.
Little.
what's that?
Archie Bunker
Archie
was.
Bunker.
Oh, Archie
Yeah.
Bunker was.
But Archie
yeah.
Bunker, we were just watching Vince and I were watching the Golden Girls at like 2:00, and I was like, "There's no way any of these jokes would be allowed."
Golden Girls.
on.
I watched some of that too. A lot of gay jokes.
Yeah.
Like a lot of like.
Which,
and you're like, ooh.
but they're like, but it's also really good writing.
Yeah, sure
They
it is.
cover some stuff that, like,
Yeah.
you know, that for that time wasn't being talked about. on television.
I guess when someone goes, oh well, we can pick out 7 Seinfeld episodes where they say something on PC, and I'm like, yeah, probably.
Which then leads you to, as comics, the whole idea of scrubbing back 10 years on somebody's Twitter account or whatever, and
Right.
they made a comment, and that now does not rest well with fan base, with the general public.
Right.
Well, speaking of
And-
that, and there's
and what
another article
happens.
right now. We talked about this privately. Kevin Hart,
Yeah.
obviously no longer was not going to be the host of the Oscars. Now it looks like the Oscars might be coming around and saying, "Hey,
Ellen.
well, that was big with Ellen saying
yeah.
flat out saying, "Hey, yeah, I think that we should take it easy on him."
Yeah.
And now it looks like the Oscars might be coming around and asking him again to be the host of the
Yeah.
of the Oscars.
I'd be
don't know
very
if-
surprised if Kevin
Yeah.
does.
I know.
But he might be in a bad spot.
Yeah, it is a weird thing to think about, and we don't get serious on GrownDadBusiness a lot. If you ever want to listen, we don't go politics,
No,
we don't go
no.
anything. We like to make everybody laugh.
Yeah, we do.
But no,
Unlike
yeah.
me, I want everyone just sad and morbid and looking at their
Man.
lives
Yeah,
and just
right.
like, I
Yeah,
hate
no,
the world.
That's a
I
tough,
want them
that's a-
hangry.
yeah. it's a tough thing to go back and something like that, and you think like, oh, what did I say, or
Oh my God,
think,
dude.
yeah, and people are changing. And,
Yeah.
We evolve as
we're evolving.
as people.
And I can't remember what comedian said it, and was like, I mean, they're like, how far is it going to go? Are we going to start putting up pictures of civil rights marches, and the people on the sidewalk watching?
Yeah.
They're going to be in trouble.
Yes.
Because they didn't do anything. And I was like, wow, that's a weird. But it's like, okay, I understand, like, you're going so, like,
over
very
the top.
far.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But it's also, it's like, yeah, we're evolving. I mean, like just said, I mean, for God's sakes, human beings were being attacked by dogs and fire hoses not even 40 years ago.
Yes.
You know what I mean? If you look at the scope of history, everyone breathe.
Yeah.
The ship will be righted.
Yes.
And we're in a time.
We're doing okay.
And a good friend said that, when a ship is righted, it's like, oh, we're off course, and you jerk the wheel and try to right it.
Yeah.
Some teacups are going to fall off the table.
But we
some
are.
overcorrection.
But we're gonna figure it out.
We're going to figure it out, but we are, without getting too political,
Sure.
we are in a very, very scary, to me, and dangerous environment right now.
We were doing really good.
Yeah.
And then,
Yeah.
and then somebody burnt down the house that we built
Yeah.
of reconciliation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We were like, dude, we were building that. Where the fuck did he come from? Anyway.
What's that? I blacked out.
No, you're here.
I
it's
missed
the
what-
Mike Sasson show. It's actually 2019.
No, I was-
I missed
not
that.
2019.
No, I was totally complimenting what you're saying.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
we were on the path of reconciliation.
Yeah.
It felt like things were
Oh,
cool.
I get you.
Yeah.
And you're right. And then all of a sudden, that house of reconciliation,
and I just
somebody
think,
poured gasoline on it.
Yeah, and I just think that you start looking a little bit more and just get an idea of like what possibly is happening with foreign nations and the weakening of our. Because when you start taking a class of people and a group of people, and you're like, oh, we're going to marginalize them and we're going to spread them apart, and then when your enemies are looking at something like that and are like,
See, we don't just talk about diapers,
There you
Krish.
go.
We read
we dealt.
newspapers.
I know. Chris is sitting there going, "These guys got too political
guys
too
are-
it's
quick."
because Chris is in the room.
We're trying to impress Chris.
I know.
When
I'm
he
like-
walks out,
I'm
we
like,
start talking about diapers.
That's what I do. I'm a magnet for this
As
shit.
soon as I saw Krish, I was
Chris,
like,
how many times have you gone into a conversation like, "Hey, they're talking about sports," and I'm like, "Oh, Chris is talking." You know what? Today in the House of Representatives.
All I know is we just took Seinfeld all the way to the end of civilization. Like we started at Seinfeld and made it
Not
about
that there's
the
anything
Ruffalo.
wrong with that.
If that
I'm
show would have
prepared.
gotten 2 more seasons, that's exactly where it was going, Jason.
that's
It was the end of civilization.
Yeah,
no, I was. As soon as I walked in and saw Krish, I was like, well, a good thing I watch Meet the Press every Sunday. Here we go.
So that's what. Again, it's a comedic smorgasbord today. Now, speaking of comedic smorgasbords, Jim Parsons. This is the last year of The Big Bang Theory, which was surprising because Jim a couple years ago, and I'm gonna call him Jim because he's a buddy of mine. Anyways, so Jim had signed on to 2 more years at $25 million. Now, do the math quick. That's $50 million. He turned that down and said, no, this is the last year, thus making it that he will not make the $50 million.
Okay.
Now, this week, he actually, for the first time, addressed why he did that and basically says it's both a complex and as simple as feeling innately that it was time. It speaks to a lot of things, none of them bad. There is no negative reason to stop doing Big Bang. It felt like we had been able to do this for so many years. It doesn't feel like there's anything left on the table. Not that we couldn't keep doing it. It feels we've chewed all the meat off the bone. I guess at a personal level, it feels like it's the right time in my life. That makes total sense. But he also just turned down $50 million.
Yeah.
My thing was, I hope to someday be in a position to where, like,
Oh,
I can
hell
look
yeah.
at $50 million and be
walk
like,
away.
you know what? You can keep your money.
Yeah.
I'm going to go to my giant house and just live my life.
We see this story once or twice a year.
Yeah.
I mean, there's
Yeah.
people that somebody doesn't want to be James Bond or somebody else is leaving a show. I mean, I guess when you're in that position, I would think that I can't imagine doing the same creative thing. I know it sounds like I'm talking about stand-up.
Yeah.
But the same thing that you're not writing, that you're playing the same character. I could imagine as somebody who who wants to be an actor and do different things. You're like, number one, I'm rich enough.
Yeah.
I mean, he's rich enough. I don't even have to look it up.
Yeah.
I know he's pretty rich, probably.
Yeah.
I think they're
11 years of the Big Bang Theory.
I think most of them, they're worth
They've
probably
all done
50,
well.
100 million.
Well, I mean, if they're
easily.
making 25 mil, I mean, obviously taxes, all that kind of good stuff.
And
But
they're
yeah,
doing fine.
But they've also had their battles with the fact that the men were getting paid a hell of a lot more than the women. That was a challenge in the last couple of years of that show. And my take on Jim, your friend Jim.
Yeah.
Jim doesn't want to be known as Sheldon as an actor for
Well,
the rest of his
too
life,
late.
and it's too late.
Yeah, too
That's
late.
what I was going to say is they're 5 years too late of him to get out of the Sheldon game because
George Costanza,
just look
dude.
at just look at Daniel Radcliffe.
Yeah.
Daniel Radcliffe is now an incredible. He's become an incredible stage actor.
Yeah, right.
Because he's done a couple movies. But I'm telling you, man, you've got multiple generations of people that are going, no, that's Harry Potter.
Well, but here's the thing. Then you have on the other side, you have Kelsey Grammer, who rode that Frasier train
He's Frasier.
for like 19
Yes, he
years,
did.
has $100 gazillion.
Some
and he
people
just,
don't care.
Yeah.
Wait a minute.
Yeah.
Kelsey Grammer is also Sasha Bob, so
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
I
he's
feel
done.
like those are the two
done-
characters. That's just phrase. That's a sociopathic.
That's where he's
phrase.
having fun. That's
Yeah.
the answer.
Yeah.
Have
Yeah.
a fun side project
Yeah.
like Sideshow Bob.
Yeah.
Well, that's the thing is like in the comic book world now everybody like Hugh Jackman's done playing Logan.
Yeah.
Right.
And he had a great way to end that character, and now the Fox Disney deal goes through, and they want him to come back. Which one is like, no, I don't want him to come back because that arc is beautiful. It's 15 years of playing that character and watching him through every shitty movie.
And you ended on the best one that you will
The
not
best
top.
one.
Well, that's the other thing. If he could have gone up to the creators and said, "Okay, I'll do the next 2 years, but I want these creative changes. I want to take this in a different direction. I want this,
What direction do you take that plot?
But I mean,
that
okay,
show?
if someone
all
said-
the geeky guys married hot chicks. That's the story. That's
well,
what
then
ended up
why don't we
happening.
divorce all the hot chicks and then they have to live with their own hatred of themselves, and we do that for 2 years for $25 million a year.
It was interesting to see. There's been a lot of division on people as far as what their opinions are of that show.
Well, okay, let's go.
Yeah.
Do you think it's a quality show?
No,
Okay.
I laugh at it.
Which
Do
show
I
are you
laugh
talking
at
Big
it?
Bang Theory.
Yeah, I laugh at it.
Krish?
No.
Yeah, I mean, I it just whenever I've watched it, I've
fine.
always sat there and
It's
said,
mindless.
Yeah.
Alex?
No. No.
Yeah.
So what is it for you?
I feel like one I don't like the way that they talk because they sound too smart to me.
Yeah. Also, I mean,
I don't
And then
relate. I don't
Penny's
relate.
the dumb one, and she's
Right.
got to be like she's almost like the Chrissy Snow of the group. You know what I mean? Yeah, that's
No,
Yeah,
I
I
don't
mean,
get that
Yeah,
reference.
no idea.
CBS show.
I'll be honest with you. I nodded. I have no idea what you said.
Okay, good.
Suzanne Summers in Three's Company.
Okay,
the
yeah.
dumb
Yeah,
blonde.
Oh, okay.
CBS
I had
shows-
no idea what her
It's
character
an
Yeah,
old
was.
yeah,
dumb
right.
blonde trope.
Okay.
I was gonna say CBS shows kind of have a formula.
Yeah.
And
It
I
works
like,
for
I
them.
like
That's all
comedy
that
a little
matters.
more than that.
But let me ask
Yeah.
you
I
a
don't know how to
question.
make.
Yeah.
I don't know how to make sense.
Chuck
It's just-
Lorre
it's not-
sees
it's not
Aaron
well
Kleiber and says, "You know what? You're the next at
Sign
8
me
o'clock."
up, brother.
Yeah, that's right.
I'll cash that check every day, and so will you.
Yeah, exactly. And
Is it- who says it? There's a comedian that talked about doing a kids show or kids movies, and they were like, "Oh, you doing kids?" Oh, T.J. Miller talks about it.
Yeah.
And like, you doing kids movies?
yeah.
He goes, I cashed a $10 million check. What are you talking about?
Yeah.
And also, he says like my nieces and nephews are like, "Oh my God, Uncle TJ's in a movie." Like he goes, "That's cool."
Yeah.
He's like, kids need entertainment too, and I was like, "Oh, that's a cool way to
Well,
put
who
that."
was there was
And Jason Lee said
Yeah.
talked about that too. Doing,
Yeah.
do you do Alvin and the Chipmunks? Well, I bought a house in Malibu, and now kids are overjoyed to see me. That's pretty cool.
They're those artists are like you have your folks that are in acting and they want to do the quality work and they want to make this market.
Right.
And you have other ones that are just like, I got paid.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, every profession needs a ditch digger.
Okay.
Like that
Yeah,
actor's
right.
just like, I'm not going for the highbrow art.
Now, Krish,
I'm doing Alvin and the
Krish,
Chipmunk.
okay, that Chuck Lorre
Yeah.
sees Krish Mohan and says that is a 9 o'clock CBS sitcom.
But we want a white guy to play you.
Get Hugh Jackman.
Yeah.
But no, it's Krish Mohan sitting there going, "Fine, I will do the 9 o'clock CBS sitcom." Are you saying no, or are you saying at least take the meeting and seeing what he wants?
Do I have to do the accents? The question.
Well, see, that's the
See,
thing.
that's
It
a
just
good
goes,
fact. Yeah, Krish,
Yeah.
good call.
That's
okay,
my
but
question.
okay, let's say negotiate the accent.
Okay.
Accent maybe. Are you still taking the meeting? Are you sitting there going, "I'm taking a meeting with Chuck Lorre"?
Maybe. I know he's a nightmare to work with. and I'm stubborn.
I didn't say that. I'm still looking out for my career.
I love this. This is being broadcast.
I know.
It sounds like Krish has done some homework.
He's a son of a bitch. Who want to work with that guy?
I've heard some stories, you know,
As we all have.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
When Charlie Sheen seems to be the sane one in the group, I don't know what's. Yeah.
that's when you go, what?
I think, you would see what's
I would
up.
take the meeting.
But if you walked in and they were like, "Do you know who Yakov Smirnoff is?"
Yeah.
What if
We're
they
doing
said that?
the Indian version of
Yeah, I
Yakov
know, you'd be
Smirnoff.
like,
man.
You're like, well, I'm gonna go see what
this has been
ABC's
a
up to.
huge waste of time for everybody.
I would
Thank
honest-
you very much.
But the thing is,
I'm going to take the
what
cookie
would be
tray.
so great is if you did that sitcom, you sold it, but then on the road, there are all these people showing up to basically see, oh, there's Stevie, the Indian guy.
Well, that-
and all of a sudden, basically, Krish goes, now you're going to hear
Well, that
a
happened-
45 minutes.
Let's talk about universal basic income. And they're like, what is happening?
That could really screw with people. I like that.
That's my only problem is like if I got a sitcom and I played like a character that's not more true to who I am or something like that. Like if I played like what's the Indian guy's name from Big Bang Theory? Whatever that.
know.
If it's
Yeah.
that character,
No one
Raj.
that's Raj. Yeah. That character is basically the antithesis of what I am.
Yeah.
If I start doing going on the road and people are expecting Raj to be on stage,
Yeah.
that's gonna piss more people off than I already.
A lot of
now.
comedians talk about that. A lot of comedians I've worked with that have TV shows and Patton Oswalt tells that story like they go to see Kevin James' buddy and he's like MFing about KFC bowls.
Well,
and
Bob Saget, who you've worked with,
Yeah.
when people expect to see Danny Tanner, and all of a sudden he's
I mean, dude,
Right.
when I
He's
did
filthy.
when I did his book tour, I did 30 minutes clean in front of him,
Uh-huh.
and then he would come out and make white hairs walk quickly to the exits.
Yes.
Dude, and it was funny. Like we would count, and it's like how many white hairs, and I'm like 7. 7 old people left the show.
Jeez.
And like every single show, because as soon as he starts playing a guitar and singing about Kimmy Gibbler's, it show over for some people.
Yeah.
And he thinks it's hilarious.
Yeah, I'd be out.
Now, Alex, are you taking the meeting with Chuck Lorre for the new sitcom?
Only if it's like, what was that show that we watched a little while ago for Fresh Eyes? What was it?
Married with Children.
Yes, yeah. When everyone claps and like woos whenever what's her face comes in. Only if that happens to my character. That's the only way that I'm doing
they're
it.
breaking down Seinfeld. Ooh, boy, don't get into Married with
Oh,
Children.
That's why I showed Alex on Fresh Eyes that because I'm like, okay, I'm going to show her the show that I officially will go like, all right, no chance this gets made.
No, absolutely
in
not.
2019.
That
no
show,
chance.
That show, and like, because that was teenage years for me.
Yeah.
When I was going into high school when that was on.
And then I
that was in the meat of like, what are we watching? This is great.
I showed her a clip of every time Christina Applegate came out in those outfits, and the crowd went nuts because I wanted her to see like this woman was 17, 18, 19 years old.
Oh, yeah.
Basically saying, you're going to wear the skimpiest mini skirts
huge,
on the planet.
Huge
on
sex symbol.
national
And that's
television.
really it. That's all you got to do.
Yeah.
It doesn't even matter what you say.
And
no
she
one
was
cares.
like, I mean, she was dumb. She was like,
Yeah, she was the
it
dumb
was-
blonde trope. It was
yeah.
again. I mean, she's the Chrissy Snow of that generation.
There,
Thank
she's
you.
just
Thank
throw
you.
Chrissy Snow more into that. I like that. Speaking
that,
of
right?
Chrissy Snow,
would
R.
take
Kelly
it. I
is a
would
total
take the show.
scumbag.
Oh.
Yeah.
What? Look,
Okay, well, here's the story I want to talk about.
What
wait
kind
a
of
second.
transition is that?
Yeah.
Why is he? Do you know how many people are getting in trouble for like Me Too things?
Yeah.
And this guy's like, you know what? We're not going to stop him from having a compound full of slave girls.
Yeah.
We're going to make a fucking documentary about it. I'm like, can
Wait a
we
minute.
do something about
Is
this?
that what's going on with R. Kelly?
Well, here's the documentary. Okay,
I didn't even see the documentary. I saw an article like a year ago about a girl who escaped him. And she was like, oh, we have to call him daddy. And he has an Asian girl and a black girl and a white. And I was like, why isn't the ATF there right now? And sex crimes and what the hell is happening?
I watched probably 80% of it.
Yeah.
And it was so. I mean, I was reading a book and it was on, and I looked at Melissa and I'm like, first of all, this is like
documentary on Lifetime.
Yeah, I'm just like, it's the same story. Every woman is saying the same story. It's getting incredibly repetitive. This show's really not that good. And she was like, listen, Jason, listen to it. And I'm like, so we're watching. I'm like, oh my God, yeah. It's the same story. Multiple girls. Like, that's what she's saying. There is people, they couldn't go to get something to
Yeah.
eat.
Yeah.
He would put them on starvation
Yeah.
if they were not allowed to
that's
eat.
what I'm like.
So you have that.
Like,
okay?
what- like, why host?
That's awful. That's insane. But this is where, in my opinion, it gets into this man is mentally ill beyond even our comprehension. So what he's going to do is he's going to do a web series in which every single woman who came out in that documentary, it's called Surviving Lies. He's going to sit there and go over, every show is going to be about every woman, one woman per show, about every woman that was on that documentary and telling the world why they think he's alive. Who in their right mind is in his life to say, if you do that, not only your careers already should be over, your life will be over.
Yeah.
If you go through every episode and go over every one of these women. What a complete and total scumbag.
I was interested in if you saw that I heard that only a few famous people were interviewed, and John Legend was interviewed. He's super famous.
Yeah,
and he was just like, why wouldn't I? I'm paraphrasing. He was like, why wouldn't I talk about it? He's like a piece of garbage, basically. Like, why wouldn't I? And it's like, yeah, where is everybody in the music industry that's collaborated with him over the last 20 years calling him out? If this was a senator, I mean,
his career's done.
The FBI would have tanks in front of their house.
Right.
Like, why is this guy getting away with this? I don't understand.
I don't understand it either.
I
But
have
the
no
thing is,
answers.
it's just to a point to where you get to that kind of stuff.
Well, from a couple of things too that I read, that apparently there's been multiple wellness checks by family members, and they're like, no, we're fine. That's our man. Like, it's similar to a like the sister wives thing. Apparently this is, it's not, that's a thing that people do. Cool. But it's
this
like,
is straight up
There's
slavery.
no, but this is not. A,
No,
there's
right,
no
yeah.
religious
Prison.
bent to any
Yeah,
of this
no,
stuff.
right,
This
like-
is just fucking R. Kelly.
it's like they're and you hear some of the things that
The girl was 14 years old.
and they're saying things, and you're like, oh, you're brainwashed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, you're saying things. This is an abuser.
So
this is
look at the one example that I'll give you is a 14-year-old girl. She's a super R. Kelly fan.
Okay.
She follows him around different cities.
yeah.
She's showing up with signs that she loves R. Kelly. She is in love with R. Kelly. R. Kelly finds out about this. She's backstage. She gets to meet R. Kelly. R. Kelly's like, why don't you come over to my place for a hangout? Now, this is someone she's idolized for years.
And 14 years old.
At 14 years
So,
old,
yeah, so
is
the
now
level
talking to her,
of belief
tells
and
her,
trust is-
come to my house. Hey, make sure you bring a bathing suit.
Okay, there are police officers and adults at the show. A 14-year-old girl gets private with R. Kelly.
Sure.
Where the again?
Backstage? I mean, let's
Where
go
are the
back into
cops?
the annals of rock history.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Let's
my
get
mom
talking about
has,
groupies.
My mom has some stories about being under 18.
yeah, I mean-
being at some tons of
Yeah.
rock shows.
Watch Almost Famous. That's what's happening.
Yeah.
That's what's happening. So there's always going to be that of the idea of like every generation has that Beatles has that, and I'm not comparing R. Kelly to the Beatles, but I'm saying every generation has that picture of the girls in the audience bawling their eyes out because they're seeing the people that they idolize.
No, and you had a good point. Like that, her trust and like that elevated.
Yeah.
Who
He's God.
He is,
He's a god.
that a normal person on the street's like, hey, come over to my house and with your bathing suit.
Yeah.
That made it so much easier for him, and he knows that.
Well, that's why I would say the only thing that
as
I
a predator,
hope the
he
way,
knows what he's doing.
The only thing that I hope that happens to R. Kelly, similar to the Beatles, is that a fat man shoots him outside of the Dakota.
There it
Anyways,
is.
so
Way to end it.
there you go. Boom. Moving on
That's
to
a good blackout.
Yeah,
Good
there,
blackout.
There you go. Now,
Curtains, lights.
thank you.
Yeah,
Curtains saying
but if,
boom.
but if Justin Timberlake wants to put me in his compound, I'm down.
I will
And
live with
that's
him
on record, right?
for weeks.
Yeah.
Yes.
I will go without food.
I would submit to
Yeah,
Justin
couple-
Timberlake.
Yeah.
I'm
Alex,
looking at
what's
the
your-
camera.
Alex,
JT.
is there any man you would submit to a compound?
Maybe Paul Rudd. I could go for that.
What a sweet boy.
Yeah.
You're right.
He's
Yeah.
funny.
He's
He's
such a
adorable.
big boy.
Every
That's Ant-Man
movie-
right there.
That's
every
Ant-Man.
movie.
You know he's turning 50 this year?
Yeah, and look at him.
He looks
Beautiful.
exactly like he did in Clueless.
That's
Yes.
true.
Yeah.
Yes, he does.
Exactly the
Yeah.
same as Clueless.
There you go. Awesome.
I just want to. Paul Rudd is. I want to like get fireworks with him and a case of Pepsi and just have a fun night and order pizza.
Yes.
And play video
Yeah.
games.
Yes,
You
he's
know
the
what I mean?
type of guy.
Yeah,
he's the type of guy who has PS4 before anybody else.
He's a grown man who I'm like, you know what?
Good
We
fun.
could be middle school
Good
friends
fun.
right now.
Yeah.
Fun.
Yes.
That's how I met
Like
Jason. I was like, you want to be friends?
Friends. We'll be friends.
I bet you. Now, speaking of great movies, now I will be honest with you. This made me mad. We're all big fans of like the Space Jam. You know,
Of course.
obviously.
Yes.
Now, here's the thing, and I just found this out on Twitter like a day or two ago. Tony Hawk tweeted out, and there's a picture that a couple weeks in 2003, before Looney Tunes came out with Looney Tunes Back in Action, that had like Steve Martin
Yeah,
and all
dude.
these people in there, he took a meeting with Warner Brothers, and he sat there and goes, "Here's the thing, we've previewed Looney Tunes Back in Action. It's spectacular. It's going to be a huge hit. We're already coming up with the sequel. It's going to be a combination of Space Jam and Looney Tunes. It's going to be called Skate Jam, and it's going to be with Tony Hawk with all of the Looney Tunes skateboarding."
Dude, my brothers would have went nuts.
Now, here's the thing.
Why isn't this happening?
But here's the problem. Looney Tunes Back in Action came out, bombed hard, and so they shelved it. And then Tony Hawk showed the picture of the people like of the Yosemite Sam skateboarding and doing ollies and stuff like that. And they sat there, and I'm sitting there going, like you said, this movie would have either been the greatest thing in the history of the world for an 8-year-old
Yeah.
boy or a complete catastrophe. But I would have wanted to see the attempt.
Looney Tunes went wrong when they made that movie. They were like, "We're the Muppets." No, you're not.
Yeah.
No, you're not.
I
Knock it
guess
off.
my question is, was that about the same time when Tony Hawk was crushing the video game?
Yes.
Oh yeah, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
So
all.
every
in
kid played
college.
Tony Hawk.
Oh yeah.
Late
See,
90s, early
2000,
2000s.
yes.
Yeah, that was college. We
Yeah.
played a lot of Tony Hawk.
Yeah.
That was my shit. I had,
Yeah.
I played a
I
lot
had
of
one of the
that.
Tony Hawk games for PlayStation 1.
Yeah, dude.
Oh yeah.
PS1,
a
PS2,
movie
a
with
lot of
him
Tony Hawk in the dorm room.
and the Looney Tunes.
I'm in.
We're all in.
Dude.
Why wasn't this movie
I was
made?
19 years old in college. All of my roommates, 7 roommates in my
Yeah.
house, we would go.
Yeah, to Skate Jam. As soon as you'd have seen...
Of course we would go to
Hell
Skate
yeah.
Jam.
Hell yeah.
I would have a shirt.
I
that
definitely
said
missed
Skate
out
Jam.
on
wouldn't
that.
you-
That wouldn't have been
yeah.
at that point.
I think this is the time to make it now.
2003,
Everyone's like throwback to Space Jam, and then
But they're
do
now
this?
making a new Space Jam with LeBron James.
Oh,
No.
right.
Oh.
Yes.
Yes, they are.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's right.
I just read. I just started. I seen a headline when I was waiting to come on, where they've released some information about how much of a holy terror Michael Jordan was on the set. Of
I heard
Space
that
Jam.
too, yeah.
Oh,
That
really?
he was miserable. That it was an incredibly horrible experience.
Well,
making
everything-
Yeah,
that
apparently
movie.
he's not a nice man.
No, he's a horrible
Oh,
person.
Tell
Yeah.
me. I was the guy that grew
LeBron
up,
James is delivering like food to children. Like,
Yeah.
Okay.
My
That's- yeah.
locker,
Yeah.
my locker in middle school, junior high school, was all Michael Jordan stuff. Loved Michael Jordan, idolized Michael Jordan, and then I watched his Hall of Fame induction speech. Screw Michael Jordan.
Just so you know,
Garbage.
so people have never seen it.
Yeah, I've never
He
seen
in ninth grade, he got cut from the varsity for a guy for another gentleman. He invited the guy who got to play varsity his freshman year to the Hall of Fame ceremony to basically point it in his face.
Yeah.
Like he's just a normal guy right now. He lives in North Carolina.
Dude,
and
He
Michael
works at a
Jordan.
car dealership.
yo,
Yeah.
I'm putting that in top 10 flexes of all time.
But he absolutely diminished his legacy
Yeah, that's
as a human being.
That's
Not
big
on top of the fact
douchey.
that on top of the fact that Michael Jordan would never pick a side on anything.
Issue.
I know,
No,
yeah.
He was
he's
corporate.
he got
He's a corporate man.
he got flack for
He was
that.
a corporate shill.
Yeah, when
Absolutely.
they were talking about the violence in Chicago
Yeah.
in
No,
the 80s and
don't
90s.
touch it.
Not a word.
That's
Yeah.
your city, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got to say
But
something.
I
man.
think once it's all said and
Those
done,
kids want to hear from you.
Yes,
Yeah.
they
Oh,
could have done a lot
yes.
of good.
You're there.
But instead,
Now,
he had $120 shoes,
Well,
and people are shooting.
Well,
him.
then again, is it a thing where it's not his responsibility? Is it?
Well, okay, I don't think it's necessarily his responsibility, but it'd been nice if he had said something.
I know, right?
Because he had such as big as he is right
It
now.
would've been nice to see-
in 1995, 1998. He was in.
Yeah.
I mean, like one time, my family we went to Kennywood, and my dad made this comment offhand. He goes, "The only thing I learned today is that Michael Jordan could run for president."
Because there's so
Every
many jerseys.
kid had a 23 Michael Jordan jersey, wearing Jordans,
Shoes, yeah.
Jordan T-shirts, Jordan everything.
amazing.
He was just a big thing. And again, instead of taking that like LeBron James is and at least trying to do something well with it, he did nothing and just basically pocketed the money. Which again, I personally think that makes you
It's a whole generation. I sat there and looked at shoe books while I was going to bed,
man.
imagining if I could afford these shoes. One
I
day.
still really like Jordans and wear them.
They're really, I mean, they're
But it's
amazing
not.
shoes.
It doesn't have any.
They're nice shoes.
It has nothing to do with him, though. To
And
me.
someday we'll go to the country that made them, and hopefully that young man is alive and well and isn't breathing in toxic fumes. That's what we're hoping.
And then when
That's
he gets the Nobel Peace Prize for rescuing all the other slave workers from the Air Jordan factory, we'll invite Michael Jordan, and that'll be
when the
flex.
Nobel Prize Hall of Fame.
You know what? That's the movie I want to see. I want to see LeBron James rescuing all the children that make Jordans.
That'd be awesome.
That's the action movie, and John Cena's
would
the
be
Marine.
Yeah.
Any artist friends out
drives
there
the
with
Jeep.
cartoon
Yeah, I feel like
abilities,
John Cena
can
is
you put a
contracted to be
couple-
only Marines.
Just a couple frames of that together for our own amusement.
Yeah, that'd be amazing.
I
If
want an
LeBron
artist that can
James
draw
saves
that.
all the kids that are making the Jordans. That on
a great
skateboards with Tony Hawk. That's a movie I'd want to say.
And
now,
Bugs Bunny.
Call Chuck Lorre. This
Yeah,
shit's
that's-
going
that's-
in.
I'm in for that one.
Yeah.
You're playing LeBron.
all right.
I'm ready for bed.
There. Then we got all right. Two more. Then I gotta go. 2019 or 2019, depending on what the kids want to say. 2019. Anyway, so this is the anniversary of Woodstock, 50 years. And so they have announced that at where they held the first Woodstock, they're going to have another music festival. They can't call it Woodstock because apparently that's copyrighted, so they like calling it the Bethel Music Festival. But here they haven't announced who's going to be on it. But these are this is the so you know how they was like, oh, I saw a list, all this kind of stuff. Here's basically what they're saying for Woodstock and I want you guys to say, would you go to this if you had the means? Here's what it goes. Pearl Jam, Foo Fighters, Logic, Chance the Rapper, Pink, Lorde, The Weeknd, Coldplay, Kesha, Mumford & Sons, Lumineers, Demi Lovato, Ariana Grande, Eminem, Grand Nash, Neil Young, Santana, The Who, Fish, Joan Baez, Bon Jovi, Elton John, The Doobie Brothers, Zac Brown Band, Florida Georgia Line, Jason Aldean, Daft Punk, Swedish House Mafia, and a bunch of other people.
I just don't want to be at that airport.
I
I mean, Pearl Jam and Foo Fighters, I would probably pay $100
Those
for
are the
that
two.
show.
Those are the two I'd go see.
Like
for
the
sure.
first two you said, I'm like in one
But for
show.
a 3-day music festival in which you got to sleep in a tent.
No. I would not go.
No, I feel like
Five
there's
years
more
ago,
artists
yeah.
that I don't want to see than I do want to see, and that doesn't seem
That's
worth it
true.
to me.
I'm
Yeah,
curious.
and then you
I've
got to
never
be
seen-
checking your schedule. You're like, we have to go see Kendrick at 3.
Yeah.
I remember the 25th anniversary. The 25th
Yeah, that's
anniversary.
right, yeah.
And
That was
I
on
was,
MTV. They like
I was
televised
I
it.
was of the age where like that would be something I would go to if I had the money. If young me 25 years ago had the money, I would definitely go.
So you're
see
talking
that.
Woodstock 99?
Yeah, I'd go
Yeah,
do
yeah.
that.
I was at Woodstock 99.
Were you really?
Yes.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
He only did this story so that he could say that.
Yes. No, I didn't. But
Okay.
I wasn't. And
love
it
it.
was a complete catastrophe.
Yeah.
But now I played it cool because here's the thing. It was in Rome, New York. It was at Griffith Air Force Base that had been closed.
It was not at Bethel.
Yeah. But here's why. The only reason why I went. I was one starting tackle at UConn. The other starting tackle was from Rome, New York. So I wasn't sleeping in a tent. I was sleeping at his house.
Nice.
And then taking the bus in. So I was sleeping in a bed, having his mom
that's
cook
way-
us eggs and bacon,
nice.
all that kind of good stuff. I wasn't sleeping. I had other buddies who sat there and did that. First day, it was like a music festival. There's people checking all this kind of stuff.
First day.
By Sunday when we came back, it was a ghost town. They had all left. There was no security. People were just running around, drugged out of their mind, nude, screwing in boxes, doing whatever they wanted to do. And that's why the whole thing is...
And Toad the Wet Sprock is on stage like,
Yeah.
What is happening right now?
Yeah, Creed and Limp Bizkit were just getting just insane. Oh, it's such a nice... When I sit there and I go, yeah, 90% of the bands that I've ever seen were during that weekend. Like when someone sits there and says, saw Metallica. Metallica was that weekend. Dave Matthews
I
Band.
remember that. I remember watching that on MTV, and then the lineup was nuts.
Yeah, the lineup was nuts. And then Kid Rock and like Limp Bizkit and all those people did whatever. So if you have the opportunity, Alex, I think that if this is the... would
I'm
you
not
wanna go?
going. There
Oh,
seems
you're
like
young.
there's better
Go
music
do
festivals,
it.
I think, that I would want to see more people at. And that
Yeah.
if I'm
Also-
going to go to a 3-day music festival and like do it,
Yeah.
because I've never been to a music festival, I'm going to do it the way that I
Also,
would
they
want
said
to.
that they will be doing, like, they'll have rooms where they'll have TED Talks.
Oh.
How about
No, I'm definitely out.
First of all, I don't.
Krish
even
is
wanna-
doing one. Krish is,
Yeah.
I didn't get booked for the TED Talk.
Yeah. Chris,
Another we're talking about
I'd like to announce that Krish Mohan is doing Woodstock.
Doing the Woodstock
he
TED
literally booked it while you were talking. He's on his phone right now.
Just
I,
did
it's
it.
going to be interesting to see if that lineup's is anything relatively close to that, because there's a lot of names. I mean, what is that going to cost you?
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
types of
Alex,
things.
who's the band you want to see on?
Yeah, I mean,
Who are
Oh,
the ones
I
that you
already
would-
forget all of them.
Fair.
how does
The only
something
two
like
that I
that
remember
work?
Pearl
Is
Jam
that
and Foo Fighters.
like literally every one of those bands make 50, 100 grand a show?
I would say the tickets would have to be probably at the low end $500.
Well, it's corporate sponsored.
Yeah, and
too.
corporate
Yeah, right,
sponsored,
I know.
and there's gonna be people handing out stuff, and again, TED Talks, all that
business,
kind of
man.
stuff. It'd be $500 minimum. Then you'll get like, with the hospitality tent, you'll get 1,000 and all this kind of stuff. Yeah, it'll be
Because
a corporate-
every single thing is has name rights.
Yeah.
and, every stage.
yeah,
and-
it'll be the Google, sure hands.
And
Allstate,
Domino's will pay $10 million just to serve their pizza there.
Yeah, it'll be all that. Now we're gonna end with this because
that's
to me,
okay.
I want to
There's gotta
sit
be some
there.
Good drugs of Domino's is there.
That keeps me from going to any concert like
Right?
free Domino's. I'm like, no, I'm gonna stay
Oh
home
no,
for
not
this.
free. It's not free.
Yeah,
Oh.
yeah, it'll be.
Somebody better have
oh,
real
please,
good
Oh, you want me
drugs.
to pay for Domino's?
Yeah.
Go to hell,
oh
all
yeah.
of you.
Oh, you want the slice of pizza? $10.
Yeah, no, I don't pay for Domino's.
Yeah, well, if you wake up in a tent with everyone on peyote, you're
That's
gonna
why-
go eat the
That's why I'm not there.
Not gonna
I know,
matter.
that's why I'm not
Yeah.
there either.
Where's the luxury box?
Someone who should be there, and the person last night. We're recording on Monday night. It's still Monday, I think.
Yeah.
Anyways, so this the Golden Globes
Yeah.
was last night,
Yeah.
and the person who stole the show is someone that wasn't even in it. Everyone's talking about
the
the
water
water
girl.
girl.
Yeah.
Every picture they show is just the water girl, just with the weirdest look on her face.
Oh yeah, I think she's an
think that's a
advertisement
very
for the new
normal look.
Insidious movie. That's
Yeah.
what I think.
There's like
Oh yeah, no, she's dead.
I don't
no,
think-
this is American
yeah,
Horror
no,
Story
yep.
season 8. This
I'm
is I don't
showing
believe
it.
it.
She's alive.
But
for
like-
No.
Fuji paid for
But
that.
everybody, everyone's
water.
talking about the Fuji water girl.
Yeah.
And my thing
There you
is,
go. How much did
I hope
Fuji
they
pay for that?
Yeah, I hope
brilliant.
they paid for it, and I hope she's alive.
It's
but
brilliant.
yeah, that's
I
a
hope she's
picture
a real
of
person.
that's a picture of an insane woman. But
Yeah,
I would.
that looks like
I
a
feel like
ghost
that's a
that-
very normal look.
Yeah, she's an
honestly.
Which, okay,
Like
if
if she was just by herself in this photo, not carrying a tray of water, and like she was standing in front of the background that everyone stands in front of, everyone would be like, "Wow, she's really pretty. Great dress."
Mike's creating his own sub-story.
I
That's
will.
just-
Yes.
Absolutely. First and foremost,
Booking
she's
her on the
having
show
meetings
next
this
week.
week because there's got to be some agent is sitting there going, you know what, kid? If you can overshadow, I'm making every agent sound like it's like 1940.
That's how my
like
agent
it.
sounds.
If you can overshadow some of the biggest stars in the world carrying a plate of water,
Yep.
I think you can carry a movie.
I will tell you what, that girl went through a hell of a process to get that spot.
Absolutely. That's what I'm saying.
Oh,
Yeah.
they looked at 1,000 people.
But
to do
here's
that.
the thing about it. They pick them and then they tell them specifically, look forward. Don't tell it. Don't talk to anybody. All you could sit there. If someone talks to you, just say thank you. Just I did concerts again when I was like, if ever someone was like, if it was Metallica, if James Hetfield comes up to you, do not go up to James Hetfield. Sit there. But this woman, literally every picture taken, she knew exactly where the camera was, and she did the look. So I bet you.
a Fuji executive.
There you
was
go.
like-
Oh, she's.
They were like, I know that's what they told you, but you better get that water front and center.
I mean, to me, I'm always amazed by advertising.
Yeah.
Like
Oh.
the idea of, like you just said, the stage will be sponsored by Google and things. The whole idea of when you're watching a football game and you go, this third down is brought to you by State Farm.
Yeah.
Like we are monetizing and placing ads on advertising on down markers of.
Well, how
football
about like
games.
on the practice uniforms
Sure.
of the Steelers?
Sure.
There's ads on them.
Sure.
On the game uniforms of the like NBA players,
Sure.
there's now like on
Which
the
they got that from
GE.
Europe because
Yeah.
they've done that in the Europe leagues
Oh, for a
forever.
long
in
time.
in their soccer leagues.
Yeah.
They've always had.
So the name of
advertising.
the damn teams is a company.
Yeah.
Like,
Yes.
Yeah. So yeah, but so
where
the
we're
idea
headed.
of as soon as I see
They
that,
are.
I immediately thought I was just like, that is brilliant advertising. advertising. What a marketing move. They found a way to get Fuji water.
We're
in
10
front of
years
all these
from
people.
like cities being sponsored at this point. You know?
dude,
Well,
Like
like in
Brooklyn
RoboCop,
sponsored by
Delta
Amazon.
City, it's not going to be. That'll be sponsored by Delta Faucets.
Yeah.
That'll be what Delta
Yeah.
City was.
Well, if
Yeah.
Amazon would have came to
Flint,
Pittsburgh, it
Detroit.
would have been a veiled understanding that that is now a branded
Yeah.
city by. I mean, we have Google here. It is interesting to see our skyline of growing up here our whole lives, and now when you look at the skyline, which I think is beautiful. I love the signs. I'm down with all that Reed Smith, the lawyer, and all that stuff.
sure.
But I remember when there were no.
Yeah,
there was nothing.
that's recent. Yeah.
And then UPMC threw theirs
Dude,
up on. this
UPMC
US
looks
building.
like the damn bat signal.
Oh, it's so
Yes.
bright.
Yeah.
dude. Because
Did you
I
notice that decision they made? They're like, everyone
Dude.
else is putting lighted signs. Make
no,
ours bright.
they did. Because I
Get the good bulbs.
real quick. I host a show. Have been for 7 years. Tuesdays Pleasure Bar, and I drive home Bigelow every time. And it was like a month ago. I was like, what the hell? I thought like Captain UPMC was gonna like.
It actually sent a glare in my eye.
Yeah.
But then marketing works. You're like, you know what? My back could use a little bit of. Oh my God, there it is.
I just can't wait to see what Highmark does.
Well, their building's beautiful.
Their buildings.
They're gonna-
their
they're
buildings
gonna-
always different colors.
they're gonna-
The Highmark can chill. Highmark's like this. Bitch.
We've hired
they're like this.
1,000
No, they're like
sign
this.
spinners.
They're like this. They're like.
Like they're closing down. Like
We
they have, like, the thing-
Highmark lined all of Liberty.
They're like Highmark is at the most photographed spot in the entire city. You can have as bright a lights as you want, UPMC. We are right at the point. Every picture has the Highmark building.
Except when it becomes the UPMC point.
Yeah,
Instead of the outline of the fort, it'll just be
Dude,
U.
you
P,
gotta-
Google a
M,
chance,
C.
huh?
Yeah,
you,
yeah.
you gotta give Google
Guys,
a chance.
Krish is for the underdog, okay?
Are we going to rename the rivers? Google, Hines,
Oh, that-
Carnegie
yeah.
River. Yeah, there you go. That's
One river is Heinz already.
Yeah.
It's pretty much Heinz.
yeah. The Monongahela River.
Have you
is
tried the
also-
brown spicy mustard? It's little Mon in there.
I came across a sign on the flip side of the city, coming from Homestead and coming in down like Second
Oh, yeah.
Avenue. A sign I've never seen before in a building called the Pittsburgher.
Yes, that's a hotel.
Yeah.
I'd
A
never seen
hotel.
that sign before. It must be new.
Yeah, it's the last
Yeah.
12 months.
Big
Yeah.
red
yeah.
letters. It just
Yeah.
says the Pittsburgher.
Yeah.
And I'm
Yeah,
like,
fairly new
that's
hotel. Yeah.
Awesome.
I thought I wanted it to be a burger place, but it was actually a hotel.
Well, isn't that Permanis? Isn't that the name of their? Isn't it like
The
Yeah.
Pittsburgher. Yeah, I bet you there's some lawyers that are getting mad right now. There's some people. They're like the Chrissy Snow or whatever of science.
They are.
Guys,
They're on
I
the
want to be the
backside of
Chrissy
the
Snow of
city.
Pittsburgh.
They're on the backside of the city.
There you go. Again, guys, Krish, thank you very much for hanging
you
out.
for having me.
February
Great
1st,
seeing
your
you.
show here at the Funhouse of Mr. Smalls. February 1st. You're going to sleep here. You're just going to work here,
Yeah, I'm just
work
gonna
out
be
the
here.
material,
Yeah.
all good stuff.
And this show is playing Tuesday on River's Edge.
Tuesday.
Right.
Yep.
So you can hear our podcast right after this.
So if you liked what they said, seriously,
That's
it won't
cool.
even end
It's
for
like,
this.
It's like you didn't talk through the deal.
I know.
So what you're telling me
Yeah.
is when you go
So
off
hold
the
on a
air
second.
and she clicks a button, we're talking now?
Yes.
So you're saying no interest for 2 years?
You telling me you're going to give me the rust-proofing package for free?
No, what's cool is that the episode we did that's coming on right after your show, it's our 2018 year in review. And basically, you get to know Jason and I really well in our year and some of our favorite episodes. So, yeah, you get to know us pretty well.
And again, GrownDadBusiness.com,
Yeah.
where you can read, listen, or read. You could read it.
Sure.
Can't you like put
There's
closed
words.
captioning
Well,
into
that's
that?
what my kids transcribe it for us.
You know what?
With
Get your kids to
crayons.
work, hopefully
Oh,
making
yeah.
Jordan someday,
Yeah.
and then make
No,
them
they have
get
good
some
hands.
stuff going
They're
there.
very good
Transcribing it
hands.
on Jordan.
Yeah.
Yeah, they
There you
are.
go. And then, of course,
And
the
then I'm gonna
greatest
sell those
producer
Jordans for
in the history of
$1,000.
internet radio, Alex Clemens.
How were our
Alex!
levels?
Oh, thank
How
you.
were our levels? Did you have full control of our volume
Wait,
levels?
Completely.
Aren't we supposed to all cheer like she's Christina Applegate when
I
you
didn't
mention
walk
her?
into the room.
Yeah.
So,
Oh, okay, when you
yeah.
walked
I
in.
mean, you guys should have
that's
done
a
it when you
woo.
walked into the room when you first saw me, but it's fine.
Well,
Okay.
I'll let it go
I made
for now.
sure not to look at you.
Yes.
Because there was a segment earlier where you talked about looking at if you don't want to make out with. What was
Okay,
that line?
listen to the early part of the
What?
show. Apparently, someone on New Year's, she was alone on New Year's. She was at a bar. She looked across caught eyes with a gentleman, and she was like vibing, going, "Hey."
I was literally like giving a signal, like, get over here, because it was like 10 minutes before midnight, trying to kiss someone at midnight. And they made eye contact with me, but did not come over. I was like,
might
and
be
he was.
lucky.
It's not like he
Hey,
was with
that's
another
how I got
girl. He was
married.
with a
I kissed
guy,
my
and I was
wife
like,
at
I
midnight.
guess
Girls
he's
are
gay.
scary nowadays.
I was, but when they're
What year is
motioning
that?
over to you, and they're just
Yeah,
standing
you didn't
alone.
give enough consent.
I
think.
guess.
Did you have the yellow hair or the green? At the
My
time?
hair was this color.
That color?
Yeah. Does that matter?
No, I'm just serious.
Green
I
means
Which
think
one
for
is
him-
more
Green means
intimidating?
go for it,
I think
yeah.
he might
You
have
gotta-
grabbed a different signal, and I thought he would have went for the green hair.
Yeah. No. Yeah.
Last time I seen you, it was yellow when I bumped into you. At the
Yes. Yes.
store.
5 hair colors in 2018.
Yep. I did.
Yeah. No shit.
Congrats.
What were they? Did you do the gray at all? Like, there's a color that
The storm.
not
the
really.
superhero one.
like with a lavender over.
Oh no, I thought you meant the silvery that I've seen people do. That's kind of cool. It's
Yeah.
like the storm. You know, it's like the
Storm.
What
Yeah. That's
superhero?
definitely the color that they.
the superhero, the X-Men. Like they, or what character does her hair? Anyway,
I don't know.
oh boy.
I don't watch
Now,
superheroes.
now you know what. Now you know why. Every week when I look at my and I bring up a point, like,
Okay.
Yeah, whatever.
now the last thing we always do is people do comment away on our show. So here's our last segment. Comment your ass off. Play the theme song out. Do we have any comments this week?
We do have some comments. Some of them are from you guys, so that's no fun.
I was just telling you that we were on our way because we were running late.
I just started sending Japanese swear words.
Lynn says, "Love that you have Krish Mohan on your show. Heart, 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 heart. Lots of things."
There you go.
That's great.
I think your wife's probably about to comment in a minute.
Yeah.
After Lynn.
Kevin says, "Ha ha ha ha! I love this." Also
Kevin's
says,
a big fan. What are you talking about?
I'm learning so much." That's when we were talking, I think, about our bar thoughts.
Okay.
Let's see. Kevin also says, "Merry Christmas, Krish Mohan."
Merry. Have
thank
you
you. There
named
we
an
go.
album Merry
That's a
Christmas
lot.
yet?
No, I'm not.
You should
yet.
definitely put your name
That's gonna
into
be-
every
But it
like
should
every
be
Christmas song ever.
M-A-R-R-Y.
We miss
To
you a Merry
celebrate your
Christmas. Oh
wedding.
my God! It just
Merry
everything
Christmas.
writes itself. Why don't you have a holiday album?
I think I'm going to be doing a.
Christmas album.
A Christmas album.
That's a great idea.
Merry
Holy shit.
Christmas.
Yeah.
The War on
War on
Christmas.
Christmas.
The War on Christmas. There's another one. That's gonna be just.
That's gonna be. I think that's gonna be what I do on Christmas.
I mean, it is crazy. A lot of
Christmas this
Christmas
year.
songs have Christmas in
Yeah.
them. It's very crazy. So,
Yeah.
Did Sam comment?
no, surprisingly, like
He
first
comments on a
show
lot of
ever.
different threads throughout the
know.
city, I
It's probably
think,
you
so.
guys. He's confused.
That's the wrong show.
Liz says, "Welcome to the party. Here's
I
cake."
think that's probably one of my old lines.
There's
Yeah.
your wife.
Also, "Aw, you boys are so sweet," with a heart. And I feel like I'm watching the Reuben Report. I don't know what that is.
It's a show. He's a. I don't like him.
He's a
very
right-wing
un-
kind of bald gentleman who like.
No. Ruben's.
Oh, that Lubin. What
Ruben Studdard?
Yeah.
Ruben
Dave
Studdard has a
Rubin.
show? Why haven't
No,
I
it's
known
Dave
about
Rubin.
this?
Dave Rubin is he used to be a lefty. He's a gay guy. Now he's on the right.
Does he
kind
make
of.
good sandwiches? Because Rubens are delicious.
Oh,
He
God.
said lefty.
Make-
I thought he was talking like the guy came out of the bullpen.
Wait,
not a fan
he
of
was a
him. I think he's
left-handed
kinda
reliever.
boring.
Look who's closing the game.
And he switched to a knuckleballer? Chris, don't say it's so.
Yeah, I hate that show. Any other comments?
The River's Edge says, "Welcome to the family, guys."
There you go.
Also, did you know that the guy who directed Space Jam is from Pittsburgh?
Oh, yeah.
Hey, there you
Just
go.
that.
It
that's
wasn't me, so
That's very
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah.
What's his name?
Joe Pitka.
Nice.
Joe Pitt.
Joe Pitka.
Okay.
What else has he done?
That's a very
I think he
Pittsburgh-
did a
it's
lot of
Pittsburgh
commercials.
sounding
Wasn't
name,
he
isn't
Jordan?
it?
He
Yeah.
did a lot of commercials.
He's a
like Bo-Nos and
scary
stuff like
looking
that.
dude. Just so you guys know,
Did you pull a
he's a
picture?
Yeah, he wasn't. That's probably.
Yeah, he
terrifying
is a
looking
weird-looking
man.
dude.
But he did commercials, I think, and stuff like that.
Yeah, he's a really old dude.
Okay. Oh yeah. Oh, he looks like from Ghostbusters 2. The guy.
Yeah, Vigo.
Vigo, the master of evil.
Vigo.
Try to
Vigo
battle my boys.
aged. He did not age well.
All right, that's all the comments.
All righty. Hey, thank you very much for everyone to come here. Again, keep listening to The River's Edge. You're about to listen to Grow Dad Business with Aaron Kleiber and Jason Clark.
He directed Britney Spears videos.
Please tell me it was toxic.
Oh God.
Which ones?
It just says the video.
He directed a bunch. Her compilation. He directed the Joy of Pepsi Britney Spears commercial.
That was a good one.
Yeah.
I can imagine
He
Britney's face when
he
that guy
directed
showed up
Seal
on set.
Fly Like an Eagle. Great song.
Okay.
Oh, he directed a bunch of Michael Jacksons too. I like this guy.
Yeah, there you go.
Dirty Diana. What a great video.
That was a great video.
Oh, and the way you make me feel. Come
Oh,
on.
come on.
Pittsburgh.
Right now.
Pittsburgh.
Black and
The way you
gold.
make me feel and Dirty Diana.
There you go.
doing it.
High five, Chris, damn it.
Oh shit! Sorry.
Merry Christmas to everybody here. Thank you very much. Again, have a happy, again, 2019 or 2019, whatever makes you feel good. Again, keep listening to The River's Edge. This is the Mike Sasson Show. God bless everyone. God
Stay
bless America.
tuned.
Stay tuned
For Grown Dad Business.
There you go. We're going to leave. Bye.